Folks, we have to go into executive session.
You want to first
Announce that we're.
tell them that you're the Board of Appeals.
We are the zoning board of appeals, sorry. And we are going into executive session. And,
So, Madam Chairman, after a preliminary determination that executive session is necessary, I move that the board go into executive session pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation in the matter of 163 Bay Road, where discussion would have a detrimental impact in the town's litigation position, and that we will return to regular open meeting at the conclusion of the executive session.
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second, and it's a roll call.
Peterson, aye.
Duffy, aye.
Murphy, aye.
Morse aye.
Petrucci, aye.
So can you all please leave us to our executive session? We won't be long, we promise. You'll appreciate the air when you come back in. thing right
I've been
here.
lax, for sure.
No,
And
not
sign
you.
that.
Friggin'
You'll be in good shape.
in that crosswalk, like last Tuesday.
And this.
Somebody stopped me, I was too far, but
no,
the kid
you like the-
went crazy across.
It is the weirdest place.
He was, I'm sure he was going to that place. and
I was only in the end because we had Ashley and
Linda's
me.
joint,
Wherever you want to be is fine.
and there was a truck that pulled up
Just
too
do
far,
magic
but I
chairs.
saw it.
Yeah.
Mark, did you sign that for me?
Signed, oh, no.
Most importantly, we have to take your ash.
Absolutely.
I got the lousy chair. I mean, it's
All right.
comfortable.
I mean, I'm
No.
fine if you want to.
Are you fine? Yeah, I just.
George, sit down.
Yeah, it shows the setback changes and
No kidding.
it's a new plan, but it doesn't have a revised revision date on it.
No, it doesn't? Oh, I didn't notice that. No. All right. Welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Please silence all cell phones and note that this meeting is being taped by FCTV. If there's any private party recording this hearing, step up to the podium to request permission. I'll introduce the board and staff. To my far right is Mark Finneran, and to his left is Scott Peterson. To my right is Frank Duffy, the clerk. I'm Suzanne Murphy, the chair. To my left is James Morse, vice chair, and then we have Tony Patucci, an associate. We have Noreen Stockman, our zoning administrator, Ashley DeMello, office assistant, and George Pucci, special counsel. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the state zoning statutes as well as the town zoning bylaws and reviewing and voting on applications. All decisions are made through the public hearing process. Our goal is to hear testimony from the applicants and the public and to allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to closing the hearing process and reaching a decision. Number one, to begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement for the hearing and read pertinent information from the file. 2, the applicants or applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation, but time may be extended by a vote of the board. 3, the board will then question the applicant. 4, the public will then be invited to comment. Comment should be limited to 2 minutes and be strictly related to the proposal. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair, should come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, speak into the mic, it will not amplify your voice, and record audio for FCTV viewers. And before we take the first hearing, there's a time if you want to make a public comment of anything that's not on our agenda, you're welcome to come up. Anybody? And so we'll start. We have a continuation of 05925 Falmouth Residential LLC, 809 Sandwich Road. Yeah. We can ask.
Could mess me up.
Yeah.
Hello. For the record, my name is Brandon Barry with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors, the civil engineers for the project. Based off discussions we've had with town staff, and at the end of our last hearing with the board, we're going to focus on the wastewater and stormwater systems on the site. So I'll give a brief overview of the wastewater system, and then I can do the stormwater system if the board would prefer. After I finish discussing the wastewater systems on site, I can pause for questions at that point, or just do it all at once and get questions at the end. From a wastewater perspective, we are proposing a on-site wastewater treatment system that has been designed for Title V and local requirements. Based off the unit mix and bedroom count, our system has been designed for 9,000 gallons per day. So we are not tripping the 10,000 gallon trigger that would put us into a state water quality or groundwater discharge permit. So this will all just be reviewed and approved locally. Within the main driveway, there is a sewer main that all the houses have gravity connections into. That goes to a manhole just about at the center of the site, that I'm hovering over here. That manhole then, again via gravity, connects to a 20,000-gallon septic tank where wastewater will be settled and stored. And then it goes through a series of 6 tanks that are part of the denitrification system. We are using a denitrification system that is on the DEP-approved IA list and is also one that has been approved by the Board of Health for use in the town of Falmouth. After the denitrification system, there will be a pump chamber that will pump the effluent into the wastewater disposal system. We are doing a pressure dose system to disperse it based off the amount of flow. As I mentioned, our plans will be submitted to the Board of Health for their final review and sign-off after we complete the zoning process, and there is no state permitting that is required at this point in time. Really, that's our summary of wastewater. Like I said, I could pause for questions if there are any on the system here, or I could get
I
into
have
a
a quick one
discussion.
for you. Why isn't that dated?
This plan here,
Yeah.
Not updated. There's no update.
there's a date. These are the plans from 12/11 still. We have not updated the utility plans at this point in time.
Oh, I have a new plan here that's not
We-
dated.
We have a revised layout plan that was submitted more as an exhibit. It's not the full set of plans. I think we had
okay.
mentioned we were holding to get all comments and concerns addressed before
Okay.
we issued a fully revised set of
Yeah,
plans.
I was surprised we got this, because you had said to me, we're not going to get one till the 30th, and
So part of, I can touch on that, part of that is there's been a lot of discussion on the layout. Before we go, make a layout change ourselves and then update our entire plan set with something that the board did not fully agree with, we thought it would be beneficial to provide at least a layout at this point in time with a summary of some of the changes. And if we get approval on that or some minor comments, we could then get a full plot revised set of plans that will have an updated revision date on.
okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Which wastewater system is that?
We've designed this one for the nitro. I believe that's what we intend to use. If there was any changes, we'll have an updated system. Nothing with the gravity connections to it or what we're proposing for pressure dosing, but maybe the configuration of the chambers or tanks may be changed. If we were to change it, we would use something that's on the Mass DEP approved list.
Tony, you have any questions?
No.
Everybody's all set? We're good on wastewater?
Okay. From a stormwater perspective, we've designed a stormwater system consisting of deep sump hooded catch basins, drainage manholes, a few proprietary water quality treatment units, and then a series of underground infiltration chambers. We are handling the stormwater from our site on-site. There's very little leaving. Most of what we've modeled as leaving is adjacent areas to our site that are going off-site. We even have our large infiltration system in the back has been sized to accommodate some off-site flow that's coming into our property. The roofs for all of the buildings will have their...
Where's that coming from?
Up in this, the northwest, east corner of the site grades...
Elevation's higher. The elevation's higher.
Elevation's higher, so stormwater will naturally run off. So instead of just ignoring that and hoping our systems would work, that is accounted for in our drainage
It
models.
can go somewhere.
Yep, exactly.
On your land.
So all the roofs for the buildings will have gutters and roof drains. There's a series of underground infiltration systems that are just for the roof systems. Those don't have any pretreatment associated with them because it's just roof runoff going to them. Stormwater collected from the pavement and parking areas and driveways will go through those deep sump and hooded catch basins, and then before getting to the large infiltration system in the northeast, we'll go through one of 2 water quality units. So they'll be provided treatment to meet water quality requirements and TSS removal. There's also an infiltration system in the grass area to the south of the site that's collecting runoff from behind the units. And within that grass area, we have an inlet unit connected to, or an inlet water quality unit, so that will receive treatment before discharging into that as well. None of our systems have outlets. They've been modeled to hold the stormwater runoff that's anticipated and drains within the 72 hours that's required. Our system meets DEP standards. It has been submitted to review by the town's review consultant, CEI. We went through a series of revisions with them and ultimately got a letter back in January saying that we've addressed all of their comments. I do know, so as far as we know, the system is approved. There will be some minor changes with the layout, but ultimately that layout revisions and removing some of the walkways reduced impervious coverage by a couple thousand square feet. So we would anticipate our system's more than adequately sized for that. But we'll review it when we finalize our plans based off the layout revisions we provided.
Everybody good on that?
Quick question, just, I'm sorry, I apologize if I did not hear you. What system are you using for the collection?
You didn't say.
For the infiltration, what units are we using for
What
the
is
infiltration?
underground? The simplest way to put it, what are you putting underground?
Yep. Give me 1 sec. I pull those up. I forget just offhand, so I can show you the detail.
I mean, if everybody's approving it, who has to approve it, DEP, the town, all of that, I'm just curious about,
So the infiltration chambers are a plastic chamber. They're specifically the MC7 or 7200s. They're just a plastic chamber in a bed of stone that will collect the stormwater and then infiltrate it.
so, pretty standard that.
Pretty
you-
standard.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
standard, yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions?
No.
Not
What
presently.
else were we doing besides stormwater? I forgot.
Those were
already.
the main two items that we were preparing to discuss tonight, that were kind of our topics that we wanted to collect comments
Okay.
on. If there was any other, items from previous hearings that you wanted any updates or had questions about, these are-
Well, I had some questions on the new kinda plan.
Okay, yep.
Where is that, I don't know if you want to put up the new,
Yep.
one that's moved.
Right here.
Can you show me where the pavilion is? Is that little box on
So the-
Sandwich Road?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the pavilion, to get the units compliant with the front setback, which they're all beyond 35 feet, so we are compliant with that front setback. The units themselves shifted back, as well as the access roads going to those ones at the front. So you can see in the area that I'm hovering over here, and I can zoom in so it's a little bit clearer, where the pavilion previously was, the road, the sidewalks are a little bit closer, so there's really not that room for the pavilion. As we reviewed it and considered the comments that we had received from the board, one of the primary functions of that pavilion would likely be a bus stop area for when it's raining out. And we thought that having it here, and then when the bus comes, the kids need to walk, 50, 60 feet through the rain to Sandwich Road, didn't really serve that purpose. So in revising the layout, we went with a slightly smaller covered bus stop, as you will, to be 10 by 8. We moved it a little bit closer to Sandwich Road, so, they can stay there. There's about 15 feet from the edge of that to the right-of-way, or to the pavement area. It's completely within our property, but it's more convenient for children to use that for congregating for the bus.
And you expect the parents to park in that old parking spot that was where the old pavilion was?
We'll have the parking spaces there. I would imagine most of, parents in any of the front units would likely just walk their children up. Other ones that are coming from the rear, there are the 4 spaces right on the access road.
Okay.
And then there's 3 more across the way and then 2 more on the road. So in relative convenience to that bus area, we have about 9 spaces.
Okay.
8
And
since one of them.
is mail going there too?
Mail is not going to be there. I believe we're going to have a series of mail posts or a
For each
mail-
unit?
No, just one large one for all
Where's
the
that
units. I believe it'll be that pad that we have near the accessible spaces. You can kind of see the concrete bumps
Oh,
out
okay, I
here.
see it, yep.
So that's where we're anticipating
Okay.
mail would be. One central location makes the post office life a little bit easier, and people can swing in to grab their mail.
Get your
on the way.
mail when you're getting rid of the kids.
Exactly.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, that's all I have for now. I don't know if anybody else has questions for tonight. You want to start off?
I don't have questions. I appreciate this synopsis you put together, whoever did that. That's very, very helpful to this board, to me. I'll speak for myself only. I absolutely understand no attic. I know it can be done, but I understand why, and why the garages will be used instead. So I have no issue with that any longer, from my perspective. I appreciate the attention to dark sky compliant light fixtures. So at this point, I really have no more questions at this point, so thank you very much.
Welcome.
Jim?
No, again, I'll echo, thank you for the, it's nice to see just tracking that you're actually addressing these and when. Thank you for the agreement that you're not going to permit or prohibition against short-term rentals in these units. I don't have any other additional questions at this point, subject to public comment. Thank you.
What's the height of the buildings? That's one thing I couldn't find.
I don't know offhand. I know they are compliant with the heights requirement. I can make sure that we get an answer for
Yeah,
that. I don't
just
want to provide an answer.
Next time you come, no,
Yep.
just want to know. Frank, you have any questions?
Not now.
Scott?
Could you just go through your green highlighted box? Because I think, to echo some of the other members of the board, it was nice to see that you had moved forward with closing out some of the open items, so.
Yeah.
That was a good little cheat sheet, for lack of a
Yeah,
better
so
word.
The green box is just kind of highlighting some of the changes that we've incorporated into this plan based off of feedback. So I already touched on one, which is really the biggest one, is that all the units have moved back to be compliant with that 35-foot setback.
Right.
We've also, there was a large discussion on snow storage at some of our hearings. We've highlighted some of the areas that we have for snow storage here. We think we have pretty adequate snow storage that doesn't interfere with the hydrants, parking spaces, pedestrian access. We've tried to keep it out of those areas, but highlighted some ample areas that we can on the site. Other things we would highlight on this plan, there was comments from both Beals and Thomas and at our original hearing relative to fire hydrant locations. We reconvened with the fire department and the new chief to review those, and they provided us markups for where they would like them. So we are actually providing 3 hydrants now, one close to the intersection of these roads, one on the opposite side of the road at their request, central to the site, and then one at the intersection. So the one in the center of the site is pretty similar to where it was. The one at the intersection has been moved from the end, so it's more conveniently located. They can just stop in that intersection. They don't have to get all the way to the end of the road. And then that third one at the front of the site as well. Another thing that happened, we touched base on the pavilion shifting and being replaced by the covered bus stop. We've highlighted some of the accessible ramps that will be required throughout. So there'll be accessible ramps at our accessible parking spaces and where our concrete walk crosses the driveway. Not all the individual driveways, but the drive aisle coming down to the houses to the south. Additionally, there was some abutter feedback relative to the pet park. We moved the pet park almost 15 or so feet further into the site, so they give us a larger area to do some plantings for buffering there. We've also highlighted where the limits of trees will be. So we are not clearing all the way to our property line. There's about 8 to 10 feet from the property line where we'll maintain tree cover as we can. The stormwater system's going in there, so that's why we do need to do some removal in that area. Beals and Thomas had made a comment relative to some of the walkways being inconsistent, providing access to the rear. We've just done away with those rear walkways that were just kind of circling around. The area to the south is just more of just an open green now instead of having walkways kind of roping it in, and then it doesn't have any questions about what units have what type of access. So now they're all kind of have just a backyard feel coming off of their units. I think those handle the changes that we've incorporated into this plan. There will be some minor changes to the grading. We'll relook at the drainage to make sure it works, but like I said, this actually reduced our overall impervious coverage by, I think it's 5,000 to 6,000 square feet. So a pretty good change there. It gets us closer to the 40% requirement and shouldn't have any impact on our stormwater systems. But as we update our full plans, again, pending any comments from the board on this layout, we'll make sure to look at all those things.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right? Oh, Mark's going before you, sorry.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
I'll just keep my comments to myself at the moment. I'm good for the moment.
You have a dead-end water main showing here. How are you going to prevent the people in the last 4 units from getting stale water?
That's something that we'll certainly look at when we work with the water department on connecting to it and review with our
Good pick,
MEP
Frank.
engineers.
Good pick. That should be looped, even if it's with something small.
Isn't dead-end pipe, I mean, it's not the best thing to have? I mean, shouldn't you be looping it back the other way?
It should be looped
That
back,
should
because
be
otherwise
looped.
the water stagnates right in
Yeah.
front of those houses, and they'll be drinking.
Mara Vista's that way. I had a house on Mara Vista.
I mean, otherwise, you're going to have a regular, flush the hydrant out?
We can
There's a
certainly
hydrant there.
look at our options for looping the water system as we revisit the plans.
Good pickup.
You all set?
Yeah.
Can I ask the dimensions of the decks and the porches?
I will note that. Don't have it
Don't have them off
offhand.
the top of your head?
Nope.
And then, do you know, you might not know either, I'd like to see, since the only storage these people have is a garage, what's inside for closets? And I don't have a clue on that either.
We can certainly bring that. I think our understanding is the hearing 2 weeks from now was going to focus on
Okay.
architecture and
Yeah,
landscaping.
that
so
would be
was,
perfect. Good.
We'll note decks and porch layouts and closets and other
That'd be
interior
good.
space layouts.
I'm just worried about, I mean, you're gearing it for kids, but there's no, I mean, their bikes are gonna, scratch down the side of their car, in the garage. And Christmas trees are gonna be in the garage, I guess, and luggage and everything is gonna be in the garage. So I was wondering how many other places there are for anything, so. That's all I had. Anybody else have
I
any
have one
questions?
more
Oh,
question.
go ahead, Tony.
I hate to keep going back to this retaining wall thing. I know it's a pain in the neck to keep asking this question, but a little experience with this thing. I continue, because I don't know what the grades are on the other side, on the abutters side. It appears that the grades, and this is a very small plan, so excuse me about that, about being able to read these. It appears that the grade continues to rise towards that retaining wall. Am I correct?
From their side of the site?
So I go behind duplex number 5 and number 4, and if I look, again, it's very small, it appears that the grades, they increase slightly as you go towards the wall.
So this is our existing conditions, just so we can kind of see what you can see the grades a little bit clearer. These are the existing grades that we're looking at. So we're at 62 through some of the post and rail fencing that they have, and then it drains, or it comes down at the property line, it's 54. So it actually, from our property, it drains down and then continues to do so off property. Then I will flip back to our grading plan. So you can see where essentially that 62 elevation that was, in the center of the site here, we're essentially holding that through the houses. So that's about our top of wall, and then the bottom of wall is matching that 54 that was there before. So we're going to meet the grades that are there existing at the property line, within our property line, and then the wall will raise up above it to keep our site higher where
How far above the grade is that wall going to be?
it'll be about 7 feet, 7.5 feet.
So it's an engineered wall, but
No, how far above the grade on this side? Or will it be with the level?
It'll be with the grade,
That's really,
so let me
so
just.
there's an 8-foot drop-off?
7.5, yes. We are calling for there to be a fence at the top of that wall. Along the sides of it, it will come down to
Ain't
meet
the only
grades.
Let me just finish this part of the wall. What side of the wall is going to be showing at how many feet?
Looking from the abutting property into our site, you will look at the face of the wall.
So
about 7 feet.
how are you going to, how many feet away from the abutters lot line
16.
approximately?
The wall is about 2.5 feet from the property line.
How are you not, how can you assure this board that you're not going to affect the abutters property when you do this? Because that's nothing. When it comes to something this high, this much work, you're going to be all over that property in some way or another. I mean, how are you going to prevent that?
So when I've seen segmental block walls like this one get built.
Oh, I have too.
And so, we'll clear the area up to our property
Yep.
line. We will prepare the site, which will essentially match the grades that are there today. They will excavate down about 6 inches or so to set that first course of blocks. Those blocks will be about 1.5 feet exposed. They will then backfill behind that, then set the next course. So all of that work is going to be done on our side of the wall, building up from the back of it. So after that initial clearing and that first row of blocks are done, all of the work will just be within, will be behind that wall and then continuing to move back as it batters itself.
Now, I understand how these are built.
Yep,
So everything is done from your side of the property.
backside.
All right. The folks that live on the other side are going to be looking at a very high concrete wall to do this. And are you prepared to offer them any kind of buffer up against that concrete wall? Let me start this way. The finished side of this, I have no idea which company you're buying the block from. You probably don't either, but,
Yep.
right. So you have a finished side and an unfinished side. The unfinished side is going to be on your side.
Won't
Buried,
show.
yes. The unfinished side will be on our side.
Yeah.
Buried.
And so you'll have some kind of, whatever the finish is, whoever's manufacturing these, on that side. But it's going to be
Facing-
very, very, so we're talking, well, not quite that tall, but we're talking pretty tall, so somebody's going to come walking into the yard and look at that. I mean, are you prepared to offer any kind of small, at least, landscape buffer up against that to soften that look? That's very industrial looking. I mean, it's done all the time, but
Yep.
there's nothing special about it, but that's pretty high.
Yeah, I think, so the property that we're abutting is off of Carriage Road. So this is a bad area. I could actually,
I'm more worried about the people in that middle building are going to be looking at that wall. You know?
Believe me, this is not the best situation for the people on that side, on the butter side.
so the wall is, here are those fencings that we saw in that existing conditions plan. So the wall is approximately where I'm dragging my mouse here. up against this tree line. We'll clear the ones on our site, but the property that we're abutting is 860 here. So while, yes, that is facing
Oh, you're
their
talking about the distance is far away?
Yeah, so while we're abutting their rear property line, we're right up against it. The actual, where the neighbor lives is far away. There's already a natural tree buffer there.
I don't, if this is approved, I don't want to see these people have to have a situation that's not appropriate for them. I suppose if there's that, they'll have to speak, I think if they're here, they'll have to speak up to that, because they have to understand that's a pretty high wall that's going to be there. The decorative side will be out towards them. I'm telling you right now, I've seen this done in town. I've seen how badly this can be botched by contractors. And there's nothing I can do about it as a zoning member, or this board can do anything about it, if you don't do this correctly. But somehow, I wish we had a way of protecting these folks from this thing, but we don't. I mean, it's all up to the building inspector at that point in time, and the building inspector's going to have to watch this. Anyway, I don't know what else to say about it. I don't like it, but I understand why it's there.
So the middle duplex is going to look at a 7.5-foot wall and then a fence on top?
They will be, the top of that wall, when they look out their backyard, if they're sitting on their porch here, they will see flat grade, and then they will see just the top row of it. They will not.
How tall is the fence on top of the
I
4-footer?
don't have a specific detail. When the fence gets included in the wall design, that normally gets specified by the wall designer, because they have to make sure that it works with their blocks.
The building code requires a certain height, so.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they will see the fence. They won't have a large exposed wall. Their backyard will be
Right.
about a foot above the top of that fence. There'll be a slight slope down, and then there will be the top of the wall and the fence.
only
So by the
16
time you're standing on the fence, going to be a minimum of 12 feet.
Whatever you do, don't fall off the wall the other way.
Good place to practice your backflips.
Oh, my kids would be up there. Okay.
I just have to say that there's so many things in these, the way this is running on these two on parallel tracks, there's so many things that are actually linked and joined together, and they're not being addressed. I think the way this works gives applicants an opportunity to slow walk things. It's very uncomfortable the way we have to address these. And I know it's been condensed by this safe harbor that wasn't so safe, but anyway, I'm not liking much of this. I'll say it.
Yeah, now take a deep breath. Any other questions from up here before we go to the public?
I
You have
have
one, Noreen?
two for you. Can you reference the number of handicap parking spaces you have
There's 2 handicap parking spaces
for the entire development?
in the public access, yes.
That doesn't sound like that's code compliant. Don't you have to have more through the development than 2?
Check.
Okay. And then the other question I had for you was related to the bus shelter. I just want to make sure that the bus shelter's positioning doesn't impede drivers as they're exiting and having sightline?
Nope. We have a fence along the front. The bus shelter has actually peeled that fence back and was in the footprint of that, and that fence was not an impediment to the site distance triangles the traffic consultant looked at. When someone is parked looking to exit the site here, they'll be sitting in their car a few feet back from this striped line, and then looking out this way. So the bus is set back within our property. It's not in the right-of-way. So we set it there both to be convenient, but also not impact the site distance triangles that the traffic consultant provided.
And there was also, I think, reference to a development sign. Do you know where that development sign would be?
There's a small development sign right at the corner of the concrete walk here, so just beyond the bus stop.
Okay.
Will you bring the calcs for that, the height and all that? Is it going to have a light?
I can confirm that. That's the
Yeah,
landscape
find out
architect
some
would look at.
details on that if you would. Go ahead.
What's the fence design along Sandwich Road? What is that?
I thought they said post and rail, no?
I think it was post and rail along
Yeah.
Sandwich Road.
Otherwise, it would impede the sight lines. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have anything else you can think of?
I just have to point out, maybe I'm incorrect, but everything you just said about the sight lines and the school bus, that could be affected by a development right next door, couldn't it?
The sightlines,
Yeah.
our sightlines are.
Now,
are
the
not-
bus being there.
The bus, how so? When the bus stops?
Yeah, the sight line of the next place down.
Potentially, but when a school bus.
I mean, these are things that, I mean, I'm sorry, but, I mean, I think that should be dealt with,
So-
and we're,
The bus is not coming into the intent is not the bus to
no,
come
I
into our
understand.
site. It would stop in the
I'm
road.
completely aware of what you said.
Yeah. And so
obviously.
the sight distance from a car leaving our site and being able to see
Talking about the
traffic,
other site, with the bus in the way.
I can't speak to their
No,
sight distances and how
It's
it's.
an unanswered, and again, that just goes to my previous comment, and I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to look at it this way in such a condensed window too, but I mean, whatever, we're gonna do the best that we can.
Did the
We're
traffic
hamstrung.
gentleman that was in here, I don't remember his name, I apologize, Dan, maybe?
Yes,
Dave or
Dan
Yeah,
Azevedo.
good. Did he do anything with DeCosta Circle that he thought was only a driveway? Do you know if- Remember we were talking about that at the meeting? I don't know if,
I know it was asked. I would have to check their response. I know when, in their initial review from the peer review consultant, they had thought that the roads that were included within the study were appropriate for what was given, so I don't know if they had updated it with DeCosta Circle. I can re-review their response letter.
yeah,
to see
just
if
give him
they-
an email, maybe you can find out something for me, for the next meeting would be good. Everybody else is all set? You all set, Noreen? George, you good? We'll take comments from the public. Come on up. Name and address, please. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Valerie Harding, 540 Old Meeting House Road. So I have a question for you, the board, where you just said it's a condensed window. Could you explain that?
A condensed what?
Window.
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with both of these at the same time. We're meeting, I mean, other 40Bs, we've only had a meeting a month. We're doing 2 meetings a month with 2, so I mean, the math works out to 4. I mean, and any question that's asked about this one is gonna be, have a direct bearing on the next one, and
I
you can't go
understand that.
backwards, and, I mean, if they were every other week.
Right.
At the very least, it would have been a better, but I'm sorry, that's just the way, the rules and everything made it that way, but it
I
just,
understand that.
it doesn't make it better.
I just didn't know
Sorry to
if it
answer.
was something to do with the zoning board that I didn't understand, since I am new to this. I would like to ask several questions. One is, since there's such a focus on children, where are they going to play? In the street? And I see Mr. Dolly rolling his eyes. I would like to say that I am pleased to see Mr. Dolly here, because I think he's trying hard to make it a decent development. Unfortunately, all of us here feel like, it's being jammed down our throat, and we're trying to come to grips with it. I would like to ask Mr. Dolly, who is going to be the operator of the development? Who's going to be in charge of the people who come to rent? Is there going to be a manager? Is it going to be your company?
Come on up.
Good evening, my name
Good
is...
evening.
Good evening, my name is Jack Dolly, I'm the President and CEO of Northland Residential Construction. If I understand the question, who is going to own and manage the property?
Correct.
Northland Residential is going to own and manage the property. We will be in charge of renting it, building it if approved. We have an in-house construction company that will build it. And then we will, our staff will manage the lease-up, the releasing, the third-party lottery agent for the affordable units. That has to be a third party under state regulations. And then the day-to-day property management of unit repairs, ground maintenance, snow plowing, trash removal, customer complaints, kids playing, leaving their bikes in the middle of the street, all the things that people do when they live, some of which is good, some of which are less good. And I rolled my eyes about kids playing in the street. I don't see kids playing in Sandwich Road. We have a rather large green, I don't know how to move this thing around.
There's a little play area in the back, yeah.
Yeah, we have a rather large, this is going to be an all lawn area out in here. I'm sorry, I don't know your first name. Valerie, excuse me. Valerie, we have a very large, this is going to be basically, a ball field, a soccer field, or whatever. You can do what, you can throw a baseball, kick a ball, whatever you want. And then there's, over on this side, I can't even read this. We have a play area over here. I don't know if that answers the question.
It does.
Okay.
Thank you. Are you all set, Mrs. Harding, or do you have a few more questions?
Well, just a statement that I want to say thank you to Mr. Dolly, because I have felt, and I think the other neighbors have also felt, that we have not been given a first-row seat to the plans that have been before us that will be affecting our properties, which we have all worked very, very hard. If you've driven down our street, we all have nice properties we've put a lot of hard work into. So we are very concerned with something that we can't control, because we all thought we had a good buffer in agriculture zoning, which you are asking to have waived. And so it's very important to us moving forward. And I thank you for your answers.
Thank you very much. Anybody else want to come up? Come on up, sir.
John Roger Augusta, 522 Old Meeting House Road. You could move this over, please. There's 4 duplexes that abut my property on the east side. And what's the buffer zone between the gable end of the building and the lot line? Let's say 15.8 feet?
That's correct.
That's from myself to the chairman. That's ridiculous. So there's going to be no buffer zone. What's this line right here? That's some type of a buffer zone? That squiggly line? The same one that goes all the way around the east end of the property?
That's the tree line that will be maintained along the property line.
How big a tree lines are going to be? 3 feet maybe? Maybe 2?
Roughly, yes.
That's ridiculous.
Brendan, I thought you said that the one up by the dog park or whatever it is was going to be 10. Didn't you say that before? I wrote down 10.
It's much larger than one.
It is,
One's bigger than the other, yeah.
yeah. So we're matching approximately in there. We have to make the grading work. We've set the tree line at the limits of grading that we need to perform and construct the building. So
There's some big trees back there, like big trees.
it does get slightly closer in the area that we're discussing now. And we have, the grading we're doing does push it a little bit further out than what we were able to maintain near to the dog park.
So all the big trees that abut that line are going to be taken down.
I don't have the location on all of them. If they're on the line or if they are on your property, they would not be impacted by it.
My property, but right to the left side of my property, there's some great big trees there, 70, 80 feet tall.
Mr. Augusta, you have to speak into the mic, I'm sorry.
There's some trees that are above my property that's 70 or 80 feet tall.
I know.
I guess they're all going to come down. It's not even a 16-foot buffer zone between my lot line and the building. That's ridiculous. That's all I have to say.
I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, it might be important to point out what our regular setbacks are in this town, in this particular case. I agree that there should be a buffer.
What would it be in the
Maybe
back?
10 feet
10
on
feet.
each side, 10 in the back. What I'm saying is, I agree with Mr. Augusta, there should be a buffer. This is a very large, dense development, but our normal setbacks are actually
It's
less
10
than...
feet.
Yeah, they're less than this.
Yeah.
Just for context, I agree with you, but just for context, that's what they are.
But that's for a single family.
Yeah, I realize, that. That's why I'm agreeing with Mr. Augusta that it should be a little bit more.
Mr. Augusta's concerns and others surrounding could be addressed with a shared driveway.
Does anybody else from the public want to give it a shot at the podium tonight?
Valerie Harding, 540 Old Meeting House Road. I agree with Mr. Finneran. You have the two major contenders here. They could be discussing the shared driveway, which would solve a lot of problems. And it's time for maybe a little give and take that would help the neighbors as well and help the traffic as well. And it's a lot of the problems we've been discussing, especially the traffic. So they could be out in the hallway talking after we're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sarding. Everybody all set up here, or? Go ahead, John.
I forgot to ask this question. You sent in a flow test, which I just saw today, the first time dated June 23rd. Could you just outline for all of us what this flow test tells us all right now? It's one of the things I was asking about, and I forgot to ask you about.
I don't have the results of that in front of me, so I'm going a little bit based off of memory, but.
Would you like it?
I think I have the numbers for the most part. It tests the pressure available and then the flow that comes out of the hydrant. So we work with the fire department to open a hydrant and see what the flow was. I believe the pressure was 69 PSI when they tested it at the one point, and then there was 1,169 gallons per minute was the flow coming out.
The static was 64, the residual 62.
Okay.
And what is the standard requirement that is required by the code?
I would have to check with my MEP.
Do you believe that this did at least meet that? Or will you need a boost station?
When the testing company that did it did not indicate that they were concerned with the results, like I said, we would pass that on to the MEP for the project to confirm.
I know when they tested the flow for the new fire station, it was well beyond the parameters, and I would have to think it would be similar, and it's done by the amount of structures you hope to,
So-
you need less water for one house than you do for 16. I mean,
So
it's
is
all a
it-
calculation.
So for the moment, this board you intend this board to believe that this flow test that you put into the records is adequate at this moment. Otherwise, you would be telling us that it was not, and what you'd be doing to boost that pressure.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a quick question. On this thing that's dated June 5th applicant response, I don't know if it's on our end or your end, but I'm missing 28, 27, 28, 29, and some of 30. Are all you guys missing it? You're missing, yeah.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, which one?
On
Oh,
this
yes,
one that
yeah.
says applicant response, I was missing some bullet points, 27, 28, 29, and some of 30. Just if you could shoot Noreen an email with it, that's all we'll confirm.
There's a page missing there.
And the whole page?
Well, it's paragraph 4 and it jumps to paragraph 10. There's
Yeah.
no,
You might want to review that. Do you want to
Okay,
take
missing.
mine and review it? Do you have a copy?
We have copies of it,
Okay.
yeah.
Just make sure we get it complete.
Yep.
Okay. Everybody's all set up here? You guys all set over there? George, you have anything? I'll take a motion to continue if anyone would like to. Oh, sure, come on up. Name and address, please. Sorry, I thought you guys were all done down there. Sorry.
Laura Innes, Canterbury Lane, Hatchville, and I continue to be really concerned about the rezoning of agricultural land with what seems to be no consideration for how we can remedy that. I continue to disagree that there's nothing the town can do and feel that our state delegation needs to be doing more to protect this agricultural village in town. But I wonder if we can incorporate into the conditions some kind of some kind of guidance around clear cutting of trees, and, I haven't been to every meeting regarding these projects, but I haven't seen anything about garden space, community garden space, or anything that could continue the theme, rest in peace, that this was a farm and an agricultural community, and there seems to be no continuation of that. I mean, I would have liked to have seen the houses and the theme continue, that this was a farm. I think one of the developers had talked about doing something like that, which I thought was a really nice idea, but I'd like to see you really regulate both developers here around the clear cutting of trees. I think there could be a lot more done. Cutting down trees that are 70 or 80 feet and then building a fence or something is just not good enough. We need to do more. And I would like to see you maybe, as a board, consider what you can do for these rezoned agricultural properties that are turning into developers' bonanzas. There needs to be something more. Thank you.
May I suggest something? I'm sorry. This board does not rezone anything. We have no control over zoning. We only manage the bylaws that are given to us. You need to be calling the planning department and the planning board. They're the ones that do this. I would 100% agree with you. We are losing things that we shouldn't be losing in town. But we are not the board that can do that.
Thank you. I didn't understand that.
I didn't think so, but unfortunately, because if we could,
Yeah.
believe me.
Well, and again, like I mentioned the last time I came up, it seems like segmentation, which I know isn't allowed, but here we have it again with two developments that are going to be side by side, and they're not even working together or coordinating the destruction of the environment there. I mean, I'm thinking about farm animals, but there's also a lot of wild animals living there. And like I said the last time, we're losing 70 acres nearly of farm and woods in a very short stretch of Sandwich Road. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the Board of Selectmen, too, may be able to help you, not just planning.
But I think, Madam Chair, not only that, but you have to remember that we have certain members of town management that help put this together as a LIP. And all of you folks in town, this is approved, you'll go through the suffering of everything you have to go through, unfortunately. Then, like every place else this happens in town, you'll forget about it. You all have to start talking to your select board members. You have to talk to your state representatives. This 40B is never going away. This is not going to change till all of you decide that you want it to change. We can't. We have to live by that law. So I feel badly for you. I truly do.
As incongruous as it may sound.
It's true.
Well, Madam Chair, we hear this a lot, not just with respect to Sandwich Road, but we've heard this complaint about agricultural land in other sections of town, and we're going to hear about it in the future with a lot of other developments. Unfortunately, what has happened is that we have zoning districts that are called agricultural, but they're really not agricultural because the zoning bylaw treats them as residential if you look at the details of the zoning bylaw. The agricultural designation has just come down over the years from 1926 when we first adopted zoning. But over the years, I guess I'll call it residential creep. The bylaw now accommodates more residential than it does agriculture. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people get confused and their expectations arise and fall. And it's a false premise here. So we're only dealing with the bylaw as it is currently written. And I'm sorry, but we have to do that.
I'll take a motion from anybody to continue.
7:30?
Do you want to discuss your next meeting and what your expectations are before you?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So Brandon's going to bring me some stats. And do you think you'll be able to do a real plan?
We can look and follow up based off what we think our timing
One
would
thing
be.
I really had a hard time with is I got something yesterday at 4 o'clock. I mean, our rules are a week. I mean, I had to stay home last night and do a lot of homework. And then I had to do it today because it's coming in so late. I mean, what if
What about landscape plans?
yeah, we have landscape?
You had the
That's right.
opportunity.
I do have the opportunity. I do.
Some of us
Correct.
didn't.
Yes, landscape will be on the,
Yeah, our understanding was the next hearing on the 30th was intended to focus on the architecture of the buildings and the
Okay.
landscaping on the site.
Okay.
And so,
in
hearing...
the interior of the buildings for me, so I can see the
Yes, I
closets and
think
stuff.
that will be included. So, as you noted, decks and porch dimensions and closet layout. So we will have floor
Okay.
plans that can be reviewed, building heights as well. So from an architecture perspective. Not hearing major pushback or concerns on the revised layout, I think that gives kind of my team the clearance
That's
to
what I
move
was thinking,
forward with
yeah.
revisions to drain locations, sewer manhole locations, and grading in the areas that have been adjusted, so we can get to work on that. We will talk with the team to see if we want to try and get a full set of revised plans in before that meeting, with the understanding that if there are major questions on the landscaping that result in landscaping changes, that there may then be a subsequent set. So that'll be something that we would discuss. I think our intent had been, again, collect all this feedback from these topic hearings and then incorporate that all into a final set of plans. So there's one fully revised plan. The layout just kind of is a leading, is a critical path on doing all of those plans. So we thought getting some preliminary feedback on that would make sense.
Madam Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
I understand the difficulty that you folks will face going forward, putting together the final plans. I do understand that. And you have to understand that when we see them for the first time, we may have questions
Yep.
or concerns, because we're not seeing them now to criticize them beyond what we see.
Yep.
Or not criticize them, but to discuss them.
Certainly.
Right?
When
When we hear from a butter, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, when I talk about us submitting a final set of plans, maybe final is a poor choice of words. It is a revised set of
Okay.
plans based off of the feedback. So we want to take the commentary that we've received so far and incorporate that to the extent that we can, so that we can address as many of your comments, and then when we come back, hopefully we can explain how we have addressed them, and there isn't many outstanding, or there are things that we have to make agreements or concessions on at that
And
meeting.
when
So,
I appreciate that. When you do look at the landscape plans, you've heard comments about buffers. I would only ask that you do the best you can to provide those buffers in a way that are meaningful and not just superfluous, just something that, it should be meaningful as
Certainly.
best as you can. You do have some room.
Yep.
Do the best you can on that.
Yeah, we are certainly clearing, but that cleared space is not occupied, so there is the opportunity to do that. We have obviously heard that concern here tonight. We heard it at the first one, which is why the pet park had moved, and we made sure that we weren't clearing as far as I think we previously were. We'll see what we can do in the other areas that have been brought to our attention now.
Okay, Mark, go ahead.
You seemed to state that there wasn't much pushback and everybody was happy with your layout, but then you realize there's the buffer and again, there's Sandwich Road and the development next door that just, these happen to be right next to one another, but they affect one another. And if the issue, the main issue, the entrance, the traffic, the safety is addressed, it's going to change that whole thing upside down almost, which might work best. I don't know. Something's wrong.
Everything all set, okay?
Madam Chair, so I would just recommend for the next meeting where we're going to discuss landscaping, that potentially they could take a look at that easterlymost property line, the section that you have up on the screen now, to see if there's something that can be done there. I don't know if there's any type of fencing proposed or something to provide a buffer, because it appears as though the neighbor's structure is pretty close to that lot line as well.
Yeah.
We'll certainly revisit
And
that.
then also for the other side where that large retaining wall is, to see if there's something that can be done to help soften the effect for the abutter.
And one more thing I didn't hear mentioned, that I heard mentioned before and was a concern of the planning board, is the number of units.
I don't think he's going to reduce them.
Nope.
By the look on
I
his
asked
face.
at the first hearing.
I think, again, that was asked at the first hearing.
Next meeting?
Yeah, Jim.
Madam Chairman, if there's nothing else, I'll make a motion that hearing 059-25 Falmouth Residential LLC, 809 Sandwich Road, be continued to 7:30, July 30th at 6 PM.
Second.
Motion and a second. You all set with that?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none. Thank you. Good job.
July 30th.
All right. All right. Next. Here it is. I have 2 tote bags today. All right.
You need a rolling cart.
I need a roaming cop, you're right. I need a life, really need. All right, you can go in here. All right, good. All right. All right, let's see, next at bat, we have 06625 Sandwich Road Housing LLC.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Attorney Jesse Schomer, representing the developer of this project. With me here tonight, Madam Chair, are representatives of ownership, William Cumming, the principal of the developer, as well as Doug Hartnett of High Point Engineering, project civil engineer of record. Doug will be going through a presentation of the updated civil plan that was submitted to the board. I just have a couple of brief points of update to provide to the board with respect to some procedural aspects of the project, and then I'll turn over to Doug after opening up to questions by any members of the board, if you have any for me. Since we were last before you, Madam Chair, we've addressed several items that were discussed at the last hearing, first and foremost of which was to formally notify Mass Housing of the proposed project change. I was prepared to come up here tonight to say that we had not heard back from Mass Housing. However, as I was driving down from Boston, we did receive the letter. I'm sorry to say Mass Housing was not aware of the board's week lead time policy for updated submissions. So we will be submitting a copy of that for record for the board in case you don't already have it through your clerk. But in summary, Madam Chair, the letter from Mass Housing dated today, and again, sent to us at about 3:30, I just read it when we got into the room, found that the proposed change is not a substantial change of the project that changes the aspects of site eligibility that Mass Housing already found. So from Mass Housing's perspective, that issue is resolved. Again, I'll be submitting a copy of that letter for the board members so that you have copies of that for your files.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
question. Do you know how they determined that it was not a substantial change?
I'm not
What
privy to that.
factors they used?
Typically, what they're looking at in a site eligibility is really not even a 30,000-foot view of the site, it's kind of like 100,000-foot view. And it's really just, do we have site control? Are there major glaring issues that the project couldn't be developed as is being proposed? So things like 4 units, and not to trivialize that, but that's the sort of thing that Mass Housing typically would not find to be a substantial change, as well as the other
They
aspect.
don't care about changing of the age at all?
That aspect, that was part of their review. They did
Yeah.
not find that to be substantial.
That's not substantial to them at all.
That's right.
I guess, George, you haven't had a chance to review that document yet, I take it.
I have not seen the document. It wasn't going, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Navy Law, it's tonight, good to be here. May I answer the question, Madam Chair?
Please do.
It was not unexpected to me that they actually wouldn't rule at all. Sometimes they just let the 15 days pass, in which case they deem it insubstantial. And then what they do is they look at it at final approval time after the whole process has gone through. So the fact that they actually acted on it is interesting. I'll be interested to see the letter. I haven't seen it. Just kind of to touch on what Tony was asking, that types of things that they'll find a substantial change would be, something specific in the regulations, like a 10% increase in the size of the project, things like that. Maybe they would find it. The types of examples that the comprehensive permit regulations provide would not be examples of things that would be a substantial change when compared to what the changes are here. So it's not surprising at all, I can tell you, that Mass Housing found that way, but I haven't seen the letter yet.
Thank you.
And so you have to treat your application now as a modified proposal before you. So you could end up denying it and liking the first project first, but you'd have to justify that, on local regulations and being reasonable. So what I would recommend you do is just view this changed project as it is on the merits and ask questions and make comments on this new proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. The second topic to update the board on, since we were last before you, we have received and reviewed the peer review scope of work from the civil engineer and the traffic engineer. Checks to fund those accounts have been submitted, so those peer review, as far as we're aware, are underway. We will be submitting a letter after this hearing. I didn't want to file this before tonight's hearing in light of the board's policy of 1 week advance notice, but we are going to be filing a letter just for record purposes, expressing our views regarding a few of the items in the proposed scope of work. We did fund the accounts, as I said. We're not asking for the peer reviewers to hold off on their work, but we did have a couple of slight concerns about the way that some of the tasks were phrased, and just want to clarify for the record and make sure that the peer reviewers aren't doing tasks and work that is duplicative of each other or otherwise isn't supposed to be done under the 40B regulations. But I'll submit that for record for the board to
Chair, may I
consider.
ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not an attorney, so I don't always know how to interpret what an attorney writes. But I took it as a veiled threat that, and tell me if I'm wrong, and of course we have our own attorney here, that if you didn't like the way something was done, you would ask for a reimbursement as you did on another town.
That was not me who did that on another town, no.
No, but was that in your letter?
That is something that we will be submitting, yes. There's a case that talks about, Housing Appeals Committee case that came out, I believe it was last year, that talks about various tasks of work. It wasn't intended to be a threat, it was more
But
intended.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
it kind of intimidates the people doing the work.
It wasn't the intent to intimidate them, more to set them on the course of, you shouldn't be duplicating your work with the traffic engineer, you should be reviewing the work that's in your lane, essentially. So not intended to be a threat
Who
to
ends up being the final judge of that?
the Housing Appeals Committee. Does.
All right, so if you didn't like the way it went, no matter what the decision was, but I just want to make sure I understand what we're dealing with. No matter what this board decided in the end, you would then appeal that part, and then you could ask the court to have the town reimburse you.
That could happen. Our hope is that it won't be necessary for there to be any appeal, because we want to work with the board and with your peer reviewers on the review process.
So just the sort of Damocles just kind of hangs there for a while.
That wasn't our intention.
Well, it was your intention because you put it in writing.
It was our intention to ensure
Then
that
take
the
it
peer-
back out.
that the peer review consultants are aware of the limits
First of all,
their-
this board does not like being threatened, nor does the town like being threatened.
Understood.
So let's stop doing that. Now, I shouldn't be speaking up, but because this sort of thing really angers me when you do that, when any attorney does it. And this has been nothing but a problem, this particular site, and I don't want to go too far with that. But don't threaten this board or the town. Right?
Understood.
So I would like to see you write something that says you're not going to do that. Why should this town hire anyone under those circumstances with the threat that this town might have to reimburse them? Where's the town supposed to come up with the money once it's spent?
That's precisely the reason why we submitted the
So
letter.
why don't we just crawl under the desk here, cower, and hope for the best? Is that what we're supposed to do?
No.
Well, then don't write things like that.
What we're all supposed to do is follow the rules. That was the intent of submitting the letter. In the case that was submitted, the Weston case, that was a particularly egregious example where there were years of review, multiple reviewers
We
reviewing
have done nothing
overlapping
egregious
topics.
in this town, and we don't have to be
Understood.
reminded about it. Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, he sent us the whole case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's understood, it wasn't intended to be a threat in any way, just a caution to all parties, us included, that when this review is underway, there shouldn't be duplicated work, there shouldn't be things that are being done on behalf of other parties. Follow the rules. That's the,
Madam
Also
Chair.
said that the peer cannot go to town hall to talk to staff.
Yeah.
So therefore, that leaves our secretary out. They can't speak to the secretary?
the intent of the peer review, allowance of peer review under the 40B statute is that the peer reviewers review the proposal before them, the four corners of what's submitted. Not that they talk to outside parties, not that they go and do their own research. It's to review, to confirm that these submissions comply with applicable regulations as we proposed.
George,
Yeah,
let's-
please, yeah.
George, please.
So there's a few issues with it. First and foremost, the 518 South Ave 40B decision that's cited in council's letter was not an egregious case of peer review abuse. It's an extremely complex project with multiple disciplines involved in it and review, and they did a peer review, and the HAC ordered reimbursement of certain amount of those funds. That decision is under appeal. It has no binding precedent on this board or anybody else. So, and that case is under appeal. It was first appealed to the Superior Court, and now it's being appealed to the Massachusetts Appeals Court under a authorization of the Weston Select Board that occurred this week, actually. So that case is being appealed. Having said that, so I respectfully disagree with the HAC's reasoning in the 518 South Ave case, and we'll let the appeals court decide that issue. And that's not the only issue on appeal. In fact, it's a minor issue on the major issues that are being appealed in that matter. A couple of things about peer review is, really, the applicant has no say over peer review. The requirements are pretty basic, you know, no conflict of interest and proper qualifications. Both of these peer reviewers are well qualified, no conflict of interest. Having said that, Attorney Schomer is correct on the regulations do, the comprehensive permit regulations do encourage cooperation between the board and the applicant about the scope of peer review. So you do want to avoid any type of disagreement over the scope of the review. So it's not improper for council to, the applicant to raise an issue of, gee, this exceeds the scope, this is not what I thought would be included. The manner that this is done, you know, and sort of, not to speak for Tony, was a little bit aggressive because it was threatening reimbursement that's going to come out of the town's pocket. But what's important for your process is you want to make sure that these peer reviewers understand what the objections are to the scope and that they can go ahead with their peer review with the objections noted. In other words, are there issues that are in there that they've put in their scope that they're concerned about to be able to provide a full peer review to you? So I would recommend that they look at the issues that were raised by the applicant and council and see if there's, and be clear, like if there's any issue that was stated as beyond the scope, they should be clear that, no, this is within the scope and we need to do this as part of our peer review. So I would recommend that we do that before they do any work on it. They need to look at this and they need to respond to it because you can't have them short-handed on it. Like if they have put a proposal forth and they think that certain issues are required for them to look at, including a site visit, they need to weigh in on that. If they see that there are issues that are noted in Attorney Schomer's letter that are perfectly reasonable for them to amend or say, yeah, we didn't intend to do that, then that would be fine. There's no reason for controversy.
Didn't the letter say no site visit too, Tony?
It did. I saw it, no site visit. I
That's like
find that a little unusual, but, you know,
Heard
so,
of that.
you know, issues like that. So
No, that's what it said.
what I would recommend is, before the peer reviewers commence their work, they look at the issues that were raised, and they respond to that. Yes, I can agree that I'm not doing X, Y, Z. No, I need to do A, B, C. And make sure that we get agreement on that, you know, first.
Okay.
And then have them go forward with it. So I think that would be the way I would recommend you handling it. And I don't love it. I don't love the letter. And I know Attorney Schomer, he's a good lawyer. He's a 40B expert. There's nothing that he's doing that's improper. I don't love the letter either. It was sort of a shot across the bow.
It was.
Anybody that does 40B practice knows that Weston case is an extremely controversial project. So it's a little bit aggressive, when we're trying to have a give and take. As that lady had mentioned, these 40B processes are a give and take, and sometimes you discuss issues that, are a little bit beyond, but you're trying to get to a good project on something, so you kind of work together. So the letter was a little bit aggressive. I would recommend that the board just sort of, recognize it for what it is and address it through allowing the peer reviewers to comment back to you on it before they do their work. Does that make
I've
sense?
never heard of a peer review not be allowed to, like, drop something off in Noreen's office and say hi. Like, what?
Yeah, they can stop by
No
Noreen's office
talking to
and say
these
hi,
guys.
but, they don't have to be.
No, it says not allowed to confer with any staff at town hall.
Yeah.
So, Madam Chair,
That's crazy.
through you, I have to wonder if this is an attempt to keep peers, engineers working for this town. Is that what this is about?
Not at all. It's an attempt to lay out the rules of the road for the peer consultants who, from experience, there can be a process where the ongoing review process by this board, the peer reviewers can start to review things. It snowballs, it gets out of control, as occurred in the Weston case. There was years of review. We're not claiming that the board did anything wrong or will do anything wrong, nor were we claiming that the peer consultants will. As is noted in my letter, they're well-reputable firms. We don't claim that they're unqualified. We don't claim that there's any conflict of interest. We're perfectly happy with them being the reviewers. We just want to make sure there doesn't come a situation where we're all down the road 6-7 months from now, and the peer consultants have done $30,000 in work and are asking the applicant to reimburse them for those.
I would just make sure that they have the ability to weigh in on it. And if they can agree that there are certain items that are mentioned in there is not part of their review, fine, just specify. If they need to talk to a town department, whatever it is that is in there that may or may not be objected to, they need to specify, no, we fully intend to go forward with this. And we should get a confirmation in advance, because 518 South Ave in Weston is under appeal, but you don't want to end up in appeal, and we don't want to end up with a sum of money that the town has to pay back because we didn't look at it now. So they've raised the issue. The peer reviewers are going to have to review it and get back to the board if they're still willing to go forward, and what, if anything, they're willing to omit from their scope based on the objection before they do it. And it's not, this happens. This isn't the only applicant that raises an issue about the scope of peer review. It happens in cases. You want to be careful about it. I mean, I recently have a very controversial wetlands permitting case that involves an energy project, and they objected to, they made changes to the peer reviewer's scope, and the peer reviewer said, guess what, I'm not working on this. So now there's no peer reviewer, and that project is going forward. So
Which is my point.
so you want to make sure that the peer reviewers who have been engaged look at the objections and note their response to it, and see if they're still willing to go forward, and if so, is there any modification to their scope that they can provide you? So I would get that done up front because of this. I'm not going to say a threat because it's adversarial to say that, but because of this letter, I would recommend that they weigh in on it before they go forward with their work.
Madam Chair, should we have the applicant write the RFP on this?
No, sorry, no.
I was tongue-in-cheek.
Just joking.
Yeah,
Have you ever had a 40B where the pier was not allowed on the property at all?
no, that's.
I've never
that's
heard of that.
strange. Yeah, I mean, they don't have to do multiple site visits, but often, they want to.
I've never had one where they didn't go on.
That's right.
That I know of.
I didn't read this letter.
Oh, you'll have fun.
I'm glad you
Yeah,
didn't.
but I just question why they ran this thing up the flagpole anyway. Are they looking for
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, I've given my advice on it. I'd recommend you follow that advice
We'll do that.
and move on to.
Let's move on.
I have one more question. You said the checks have been submitted. Was there a dollar amount that you've agreed to for the traffic and the engineering?
I don't recall what they were. We submitted exactly what the peer reviewers estimated for their fees.
Do you know, Noreen, what the dollar value was on those, or? If not, that's fine. It's just-
And the fact that they gave the check doesn't mean that they won't seek reimbursement later.
I'm just trying to
Madam Chair,
understand the
one more
risk on the
question.
town.
I apologize, and I realize we're going to have to get past this. When you submitted that check for the 53G account, were you aware of the scope of work that the peer engineer was to perform?
We were.
Was there any objection to that?
That's noted in my letter.
So
The
that is
objection
what
is
you're noting. But yet you still said, I'll pay for it.
We don't want to slow down the process.
But watch out.
That wasn't our intention to say, watch out. It was to the peer reviewers to say, here are the guardrails.
I just wanted it on the record, that's all.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that they made the deposit doesn't mean they can't seek reimbursement later. So I would just allow the peer reviewers to weigh in on it.
Okay.
Just one final point before I hand over to Doug. Since we were last before you, I did submit by letter a summary of the project and the changes as the board had requested. Enclosed with that letter was also the copies of the civil plans on single sheets, as the board had requested. Those are at a slightly lower scale than the previous submission. There are no changes to the plans. They're just differently scaled so that they fit on one sheet. And then finally, we did also submit for record a revised copy of the requested waivers list, which corresponds to the updated plans. Unless the board members have any further questions of me, Madam Chair, I'd like to turn over to
I
Doug.
think we're all set.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the Board of Appeals. Doug Hartnett, Principal at High Point Engineering, representing the applicant this evening to discuss the civil engineering of the project being discussed this evening. I have not presented to this board first, so if there's any technical issues I have, I'll be sure to reach out to staff, and hopefully we can address all your questions. We also look forward to the peer reviewers, as previously discussed with the applicant's attorney, and I look forward to working with everybody in this town to make this a successful project. I thought what I'd do is go back to the existing conditions of the property, existing conditions survey prepared by Bracken Engineering, just to refresh everybody's memory about the property limits, the existing conditions of the property, and what sets the basis for the design. So the property itself, as you can see, is shaped similar to a typical hammerhead type of lot. This lot area is about 14.6 acres. It's predominantly vegetated, with the exception of the area of the old horse stable that extended onto the property. As you can see up in this area, I'm going to try here, in this area here. Property is bisected by a 100-foot wide transmission easement controlled by Cape and Vineyard Electric Company. On the right-hand side of the property, this is, again, fully vegetated area. As part of our due diligence on the land, we've conducted soil testing back in December of last year. Testing was witnessed by the Board of Health for the purposes of on-site sewage disposal design. 19 test pits were excavated and witnessed. As it is with most of Falmouth, the soils are predominantly medium sand. Test pits were excavated down to about 12 feet, no groundwater observed, so the soil conditions are more than adequate to support the development plan. What I'd like to do is just really discuss the development, looking at the landscape plan. I think the color helps to better present what the project is. And I'm working on this. This is the first time I've done this with this particular item here. As you access Sandwich Road and you come in from west to east, you can see that the road is loaded with single-family, for-sale units that are mostly detached as you come into the core of the development. This is the development plan that the board originally saw in the original application, with a loop road that extends into the west side of the property adjacent to the electric easement that you see here, with a connecting alley
between the loop road and here. You can see the units identified in white. The unit count in what we call the core area, the core condominium area, is 50 units. That's a mix of 40 detached and 10 attached units. The revised aspect of the application continues the roadway as a dead-end driveway extending down through, and then essentially a dead-end street that loads 14 parcels that would be created under a subdivision of the property. These would be single-family, four-bedroom, single-family homes, a more traditional rural type of design for the development plan. The roadway itself is designed as a 20-foot wide two-way roadway. The core roadway is designed, this roadway section is, as I said, 20 feet with a 5-foot grass strip and a 5-foot sidewalk. So if you were to kind of look into zoom it in, you can see generally the way the layout of the roadway and how it works, okay? And that condition is consistent as you go through the core development area. As you get to the crossing of the electric easement, the roadway transitions to a gravel roadway. The reasoning we did this is to create a more rural setting for the single-family parcels in the rear of the property. Again, this roadway would be 20 feet wide, two-way, as similar in dimension to the width of the paved area, with essentially a dead end up on the top end area here and a dead end down in the south area here. This dead-end roadways have been designed to meet the NFPA requirements for dead-end turnarounds for fire apparatus. Those maneuvering studies have been conducted for this project and can be provided to the peer reviewers as they go through their effort to review the project. As you see the other elements of the plan, you see the limits of vegetation. Existing vegetation remained is in these, call it a Kelly Green area here. Areas that are being graded that would be revegetated are shown in the darker green. And then the development proper itself is shown in the lighter green. That'd be really the traditional design for the landscape in that area there. What you see here for the units, we're taking advantage of the sloping topography. If you go back to the existing conditions plan, you'll notice that the site is predominantly flat as you go through the central and eastern side of the property. And as you get into this area here, the property slopes down pretty significantly off-site to what is an off-site pond over here, whose buffer zones do not encroach onto the property. To take advantage of the sloping landscape, what we've proposed is to provide, I think it's 15 units that would have walkout conditions running along this edge of the roadway. And what that does is it allows you to reduce any excavations and any grading by taking advantage of the slope to provide the walkouts in this area here. For parking, typical active adult units with one vehicle garage, one vehicle for parking outside of the garage, so 2 per unit, as well as 25 visitor spaces sprinkled around their access road as parallel parking type of design. Also, you'll see this green space panel here and a green space panel here. These panels provide visual interest for the unit owners that would be surrounding in this area and this area, but also provide the footprints for sewage disposal areas for the sewage treatment aspect of the project. As you come across to the single-family area, you can see what we're proposing to be the limits of the clearing. It's about 10 feet minimum to the lot lines. It does vary a bit, and really the clearing limits are predicated on the grading as well as the sewage disposal systems for each one of these buildings. And we'll get into the sewage disposal system design aspects in a little bit later in the presentation. Oh, wrong way, excuse me. Stormwater management. If you bear with me here. Closed collection system consisting of catch basins with conveyance pipes discharging to subsurface, Caltech, stormwater chambers sprinkled throughout the property. So as we go from west to east, we have an area here to collect stormwater prior to discharge to Sandwich Road, so we don't introduce any runoff to the public way. As we come into the property itself, excuse me, I'm a little bit here trying to get my bearings on this. Apologize for that. As we come around the property, you see footprints of Caltech chamber areas here, smaller areas along the roadways, smaller areas adjacent to the roadways here. And then behind the buildings, these are stormwater chambers that are discharged by the roof. So there'll be a separate roof drain collection system for the buildings. There'll be a separate header that collects those roof leaders and then ties to infiltration areas adjacent to, basically adjacent to the call it the grouping of buildings as you're in the east side of the property, west side of the property, north and south. What this design does is it allows decentralization of the stormwater management. So by providing this, it more mimics the hydrologic aspects of the property, better design that's encouraged by DEP under the stormwater management policy. As you come across to the single-family portion of the project, this is designed due to the fact that we are proposing gravel roadways. This is more of a traditional Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard type of design where you would have a slightly cross-pitched roadway with a roadside swale, grass-lined roadside swale that conveys runoff through small culverts, driveway crossings. This to see that.
Madam Chair, quick question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I heard what you just said.
Yes,
Did you say it's a gravel road?
yes, sir.
Okay.
So the high point for the roadway is essentially at the intersection, so this portion of the roadway discharges to grass-lined swale, sediment 4 bays, and then a recharge area in this location here, and the similar design for the grass-lined swale, sediment 4 bays, and then recharge with a separator row that we have in this location here. From a best management practice standpoint, all the subsurface chambers and all the stormwater is designed to capture, pre-treat, and infiltrate up to the 100-year event. So there's no release of any stormwater associated with this design. The pre-treatment meets the 44% TSS removal requirements for critical areas.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
I've never had a gravel road before in a 40B. Now, these are ownerships.
Correct.
So your gravel starts to wane, so the people have to provide their own gravel in front of their house? Is that how it would work?
From an association perspective, even though these are single-family homes, the maintenance of the roadway network is likely taken care of by
Through
the
an HOA.
association. So
Okay.
the association would have an operation and maintenance plan for both the gravel roadway as well as for the paved
And
roadway.
why did you choose gravel?
We were seeking to create a more rural
It's
condition.
not going to be rural, this is like crazy,
Oh,
crazy
come on.
land. Far from rural,
I can see the General Lee going around the corner there right now, you know?
yeah. No, seriously. why
I'm
did
laughing
you-
about the General Lee
Oh,
comment,
yeah.
that's all I did.
But seriously, why did you
Disrespect,
choose
man.
gravel? This is not rural. It doesn't have a second of rural.
But it sounds good, Madam Chair.
The rural word is pretty. Okay, thank you.
That was the design intent. So we talked about the stormwater management strategy, talked about the roadway network. We can discuss now the septic system.
Madam Chair, before we leave this whole thing, because I'll lose my train of thought on it.
Yep.
What is the benefit of gravel versus paved? What is the benefit of them? Forget the rural thing, because this is not rural. I like the idea, it's very pretty. But what is the benefit of gravel versus paved, besides expense?
Coverage.
Yeah, it's the impervious coverage is also.
So what's the lot coverage by paving and structures here?
About 42%.
So if you'd have paved that road, would be at 49?
I don't know the exact number, but
Oh,
it would be,
come on,
it would be
somebody does.
greater. I'll
But you
say
guys
that.
are math all day long. Look at you.
Mr.
Come on.
Finneran, I don't know the exact
Okay.
number,
Okay.
so.
All right, give
But
it
to
to
your
me
point, it
within-
would increase. Any other questions from the board before I go to the sewage disposal design? Thank you. So the sewage disposal design is set up in a manner to take advantage of the best available technology as approved by DEP for innovative alternative septic systems to provide denitrification prior to discharge. In this particular design, for the core area, we are proposing a standard gravity sewer collection system to pick up all the discharges from every one of the 50 units that you see in here, with the gravity collection system discharging to a innovative alternative, call it a treatment plant, which is designed based upon our coordination with Orenco. It's an Advantex IA system, which is one of the systems that have been approved by DEP. That includes a settling tank, flow equalization, a return tank, filter pods that are part of their their technology, discharge to a pump chamber, and then that pump chamber runs a force main up and then discharges to a sewage disposal field. In this case, it's an infiltrator advanced enviroseptic sewage disposal field. The flows for the core development area are assumed to be 8,400 gallons a day, based upon the active adult use of 150 gallons per unit, plus some units that have 3 bedrooms, so those have been accounted for in the sewage disposal estimates.
What was that, 8,400, did you say?
Yes, 8,400.
That pump chamber, how far underground is that?
Well, this is downhill, so it's a
Yeah,
good
I
question.
understand. That's why I
We
asked.
purposely put it in this area to take advantage of the dropping grades, so we did not have to have the pump chambers and all the other components significantly deeper than the landscape. I can get that information for you, I don't have the
So is there going to be a
exact-
noise issue here?
No different than any other type of area that has pump chambers. These are all underground, as you're probably aware if you've seen them. They all have covers on them. There is a small building, it's a maintenance shed. It has probably a chemical feed for the
Yeah.
denitrification process, not dissimilar from some of the other technologies.
Madam Chair?
Tony?
Just to follow up on that question, we can't talk about anything else, but we have a project here in town that I was asked to visit, very large, and there was I think, a fan system that was very annoying to everybody. Well, butters, in this case, is going to be inside. Do we have a similar situation going on here where because once it's in, it's done, then you got to try and buffer it. Do we have a loud, impending potential noise coming from this?
Mr. Petrucci, I don't believe we do. It's not an aeration system. You would hear the blowers from the fans
That's what I'm talking about.
in a typical aeration system. This is not that technology, as best as I know, but I can have an answer for you.
I would love to have that, because I did witness it, and it is very annoying to butters.
Very good. Be happy to answer that for you at the next meeting. As we move over to the single-family area, these are intended to be individual sewage disposal systems. IA technology is the same Advantex, Orenco technology, except it's smaller in scale. These are designed as 440 gallon per day, 4-bedroom units, and those are individually set, as you can see the footprints on the plan. Those footprints have been set up to meet Title V requirements for property line setbacks, building setbacks, and groundwater separation and so forth.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, you're.
And the HOA is going to take care of all the inspections the first year and all that?
Yeah, so I would suspect in a typical HOA like this, these unit owners would have their obligations to maintain their own systems. Typically, there's a contract that needs to be demonstrated to the town.
I thought some of those were affordable.
Yeah, what's going to happen if that gets, those aren't D-nights.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Yeah,
They
it's
are?
all
They are
done.
D-nights, yeah, it's all D-night.
They're all D now.
Aren't those affordable, some of those 14?
Yes,
Yes.
yep, comparable in terms of the
And so they're
quantity.
in charge of their D-night system?
The creation of the association and the obligations to maintain the sewage disposal in the D-night will be taken care of as part of the association agreements. So to your point, if we were concerned about the affordable units not, or putting the burden, if you will, on maintaining those systems, we can discuss how that would be managed in an association document.
I think we'd like to see drafts of those documents, just to make sure that
Yeah.
a affordable unit owner is not going to get saddled with a large bill unexpectedly.
And how much electricity could they
Sorry, Madam Chairman.
look forward to paying every month? The affordable ones, to run that?
I don't have the answer for you, Mr.
Maybe you
Finner.
could get that, just so we know.
Yeah, we're going to need that data,
Okay,
please.
Actual Massachusetts electricity prices.
yeah, understood.
Madam Chair, unless, of course, there's an objection from their attorney about that, too. Would there be an objection
To get the data?
to get the data?
We can speak with Arenco, who is the manufacturer, to see if they have real data in terms of what the electricity usage is in order to be able to operate their
Yeah, because when this board asks for something, it would be good that we get it versus getting another letter that says we're not going to get it. So I'm just, because it wastes everybody's time, your time, our time, we're anticipating getting something. So I'd like to know now, is there any objection to us getting that information?
No, not that I can see.
Okay.
The question is, can I isolate the energy usage data for those systems? If somebody has a house and they have their electric bill doesn't differentiate operation of their IA system versus operation of the rest of the electricity in the home, right? So that's why I have to go to the manufacturer. They should have data.
Yeah, they
on
have
that.
all that.
And I'll do my best to get that to the board.
Thanks.
And then in closing on the design for this, for the core area, I should mention, this is designed to meet the Title V requirement for the footprint for the leaching area. As I said, it's the infiltrator advanced enviroseptic sewage disposal field. This area here is the reserve area. So we've purposely broken those out. I've found in my career, it's almost easier to not have reserve areas sprinkled in between the existing chambers to isolate it so that in the event that you had to put something online quickly, that you could do that with a reserve area. So it's not uncommon to have a reserve area somewhat remote from the primary field.
I mean, this all has, Madam Chair?
Yeah.
This all has to go before the Board of Health anyway.
Correct. Yeah. There'll be a full review of that. I heard the board mention water on the previous hearing. We are proposing an 8-inch water main extending from the main off of Sandwich Road, extends into the site. The water main is looped within the core area, internal looping, with a dead-end water
Either
main
end of that is a
extension.
dead end?
Pardon me, sir?
Either end of that is going to be a dead end, the
Yeah.
14?
What's the length on that dead end?
This roadway, I had it
Depends if
written
you're on
down, is
the
about
end.
750 feet roughly. So if you think about a dead-end street, cul-de-sac dead-end street, oftentimes they're between 500 and 750.
Where do you live?
In a lot of the towns I've worked in, for a dead-end street that's a subdivision roadway, 500 feet's not uncommon for a dead-end street.
So,
Okay.
Madam Chair? Just the same question the last applicant. On this dead end, how do you keep that water from becoming stagnant? How do you flush it?
Can't.
Well, I know, yes.
Yeah.
I just want, he's the engineer, I just asked.
You can do it a number of ways. You can.
Loop it.
True, but you can also coordinate with the fire department to open the hydrants to flush it like they flush. The town has a flushing
Every
program.
week?
You don't need to flush it every week, Mr. Fenner.
I had a house on a dead-end
This is a private
street.
road.
If I left for 4 or 5 days,
Ask,
you could tell by looking in the toilet.
to ask.
I mean, it's the same water getting delivered, and it's not the water they're delivering, it's the pipes that it's going through.
Understood.
Isn't
So,
this a
I
private
don't-
road?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's town water, it's coming
The fire
from
department's not gonna go
picking.
marching around on a private
Not
road.
in a million years, we can barely
Well,
flush the
these-
hydrants that we have, and of course, it's not fire
Madam
department's
Chair,
duty
I think we
anyway.
have to get something in writing from them about how they're going to manage that. I have no clue. I have no clue. I've got a lot of experience in this, but I have no clue how you're going to manage this or how the association will manage that going forward. We don't
Has
want people getting
engineering looked
sick.
at this yet?
We don't want people getting sick.
I don't think they're gonna be happy with a 700-foot long dead end. I'm certainly not.
He thinks it's normal.
He's the engineer. I mean, he's done this before. I mean, he's a pretty experienced guy.
Well, we have water main extension agreements which say that if the town provides the water, the town takes over ownership of the pipes. And I'm sure the water department will have information or comment on this because it's a problem they don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want one more dead end. As a matter of fact, the last one we had, it was in a hope that they can loop. Dead ends are problematic. I've owned property with dead ends, I mean.
Well, we can come up with a recommendation on the amount, the frequency of the flushing. If there's a private contractor that gets managed by the association in coordination with the fire department to flush these areas more frequently, we'll do that.
The town's in a drought. I think they're going to find it a little difficult to be flushing this thing every.
And the
every few
fire
weeks.
department's got a manpower drought. I know that for a fact. And, well, it hasn't gone to engineering yet. They might have something to say
I
that's
think
a
we're going
little
to find, I think
closer
we're
to
going
what
to
I
find
said.
out. I think we'll find out.
We're just moving along.
Understood. Thank you, Madam
Somebody
Chair.
respond.
Other than that, on the utility, we discussed water, we discussed sewer, underground electric telephone cable, pretty traditional for any kind of a subdivision, residential-style development. And I believe that is that is it. This is
Want
in
to
the-
show me where the hydrants are? Please?
If I can get in there. See if I can see them here. Let's see, we have, okay, I'd have to zoom in pretty tightly, Madam Chair. We have one in here, pros hydrant with water gate cluster up in here, and they're sprinkled up. Typically, the hydrant layouts, 500 feet between hydrants from the fire department's perspective, and we'll ensure that we meet that typical standard as we go through the final.
You can just bring it next time you come if you want to and point them out.
They're in here, it's hard to see at this
Do
scale
it
with all
next time and
this.
put it in your homework page.
Sure.
We can just do
We
it
can
next
color
time.
code it to make it easier for the board to see. Absolutely.
On that subject, Madam
Go
Chair,
ahead.
have you done a flow test yet?
No, it was interesting, I heard the testimony of the previous,
Should be the same theoretically?
yeah, I heard 64 and 62
64,
On the-
60, yes.
and the 62 in the residual, so that's more than adequate for a project like this.
Will you be doing a flow test? Or is that going to be duplicating somebody else?
It depends on where they did the flow and the pressure testing. If it's on the same line, right in front of our property, we can utilize that data.
Have you talked with, may I ask this? Have you spoken with with Eversource about power supply? Do you have adequate power supply for this? This is a pretty big, very condensed, very big project.
Yeah, the answer is no. We have not petitioned, we have not submitted a work order. That's typically the way, how you engage Eversource or National Grid. Prepare the work order on what your demand will be, and then they will take it from there and engineer a layout for the project.
So they would determine how to get you the power you needed.
That's correct.
I just want that on the record. So,
Power line easement running right through the place.
That's
That's true.
transmission level, though. It's not,
Oh, just plug into it.
it's
10,000
not
volts.
distribution.
That should be adequate.
The whole project's electric, right?
Correct.
A lot of power.
Yeah, on that easement. Yes.
No, anyway.
For the
So you're
development.
going to have all of that, that's all.
Well, I think it's premature to get Eversource to do the engineering. You wouldn't do that until you know the project's fixed.
But I have to ask the question because we have to be sure that that's something you're going to do. I mean, it makes sense that you do. If you're a professional, you're going to do these things.
I understand, but most of the projects that when the service letter is submitted for the request for service, that's done when you're imminently ready to build the project. But we're not really imminently ready to build it at this point.
So you're not aware of any limitations? I guess my question
That's
is,
a
you're
fair
not aware of
statement.
any limitations,
That's a
is the
fair
right
statement.
question?
Yes, we're not aware of
Okay,
any
okay.
limitations.
Are there streetlights?
We do have a photometric plan. I don't think it's on the full size. The answer is yes, we do.
On both sections
Yes, you know what? Yes, we do.
to light up the gravel?
Have to go find the...
Seashells.
The rural
The
lighting out
rural
there.
lighting.
Bear with
Oil
me while I
lantern.
look for what was submitted. We have a photometric plan here. And a photometric plan. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit. So you can see the lighting locations. Sorry, I'm being a little, here we go. So you see like a typical light pole location here, here, sprinkled around the core, and as you get over to the rural area, you can see the light poles also located on the right side of the roadway.
May I ask?
And the photometric plan demonstrates that there's no light buffer.
I noticed that your cut sheet is, let me put it, does not appear to be dark sky friendly. Do you believe this is dark sky friendly?
I have to go back to the cut sheet
The,
and see where it is here.
Cisternburg S440
Oh, here we
Seville.
are. It doesn't allow any light vertical. It's typically the dark sky requirement, right?
Because we generally ask for dark sky friendly.
Correct, yeah. It will confirm as dark sky
Okay.
compliant if that is the will of the board. Absolutely, we'll do that.
It's a good time to ask the question now, early on.
Is there any solar planned?
Not planned at this point.
There
And
will be with it all electric.
okay. And I can answer any more questions while I'm here?
Anybody have any other questions up here?
Well, just my usual objections, running on the
Wait for the peer reviews.
Madam Chair? Oh, sorry. So I just wanted, a couple of questions I wanted to check with you. Regarding the drainage in the septic area, it's my understanding that you cannot plant trees, et cetera, in those areas, correct?
That's correct.
So that would potentially limit the amount of planting that will occur in that center area?
That's why we left it as a full grass panel, as you see here,
Yeah.
and did not introduce plantings with roots and so forth, and so it did not conflict with either the stormwater or the sewage disposal.
Okay. And then with the roadway, are you planning a roadway that will meet town standards for subdivision?
In terms of the width, no, the roadway is 20 feet in width,
Okay.
not 24 feet in
All
width.
right, because it's important for you to understand, if you do not build to town standards, there will be no town services. There'll be no plowing, no trash pickup, et cetera.
Okay.
And I raise this to your attention because we have had problems and concerns from other developments where the owners are unaware that while they're paying taxes, they are not entitled to services.
That's a lot of trash.
And we are getting complaints because the trash rates continue to rise. And particularly for the affordable homeowners who are limited in their income, they don't have a way to accommodate those increase in prices. So they're contacting the town saying, hey, we're paying you taxes, we're homeowners, we're not getting trash pickup, we're not getting plowing, we're paying for this privately.
So to answer your question, this road network is intended to be private. Typically with developments such as this that would have a private roadway, it's the responsibility of the association to maintain the roadway. So to your point, I agree. It would be
Right.
the association's responsibility.
So that's gonna
If and
be-
when the developer petitioned the town to take the road,
So therein lies the problem, and that's why we bring this up at the very beginning, is because if you do not construct to town standards, you can never petition the town to take the road, because if you intend to potentially have them take it, they need to be inspecting the roadway as it goes in, so that they know it's built to their standards. But I can also promise you, again, based on the fact that we've had multiple 40Bs, that if you do not build to town standards, including width, the town will not, again, they won't take the road, they won't do trash pickup, they won't do plowing, nothing. And it's critical that all those new homeowners understand that, because a lot of people think they can petition the town afterward, because that's the natural process, except they'll be forever precluded. And that seems to be a massive gap. So I would recommend, if that's the way you're gonna proceed, that be in the homeowner documents, so that they're aware on purchase that this is the circumstance.
okay.
That means we also have an issue where you're going to put the snow and where you're going to put the garbage.
Well, it's gotta be
Yeah.
private trash, right?
You know what you should do, which would be beneficial, I think, is an operational cost for each dwelling?
Well,
Like how much you're
something
gonna pay for your snow, how much you're gonna pay for your plowing, for all of that.
needs addressing anyway. Especially in regarding the affordable units.
Quick question on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Will you be engaging somebody to put together a professional reserve study and operating study with regard to repair cycles, things like that, so these folks know what they're going to be dealing with?
That's pretty typical, Mr. Petrucci, on any association type of, when the developer or transfers the responsibility of the maintenance of the roadways, a reserve study is part of that effort undertaken by the trustees of the association.
You'd be surprised.
I just know from my other experiences, so.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, you'd be surprised.
So the testimony is yes? Is that what you're saying?
In terms of, no, I have to rephrase
The
the
reserve
question.
study, yeah.
It's usually taken care of at the time of transfer of the property to the association. The developer has the responsibility to maintain it during construction. And at some point, when the property is substantially completed, there's an arrangement made for the homeowners to create an association, to vote in the trustees, and to convey the rights of the operation and maintenance to the association.
You see the flaw,
That's-
you
that
see the,
happens
you
so
see
far
the,
down
you
the
see the,
road.
Madam Chair, but you do see the flaw in that. I already bought, and now I have to do a reserve study that I have to fund with $25,000. So, I mean, there is a flaw to that process.
I have a place in Naples, and I know exactly,
Yeah, exactly.
because that place is 1980s, and
Oh, yeah.
so we have our own inherent issues that I understand.
Very familiar with that.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. How are the kids under the high tension wires gonna get to Sandwich Road? How are the parents going to drive them to wait for the bus? Where will all the cars park?
Who's going down the,
The kids that are in the four-bedroom houses
oh, okay, now I
have to get to
understand.
Sandwich Road to get the bus. Like I've said in many a hearing, I'm not letting my kid walk up there by himself or herself. Normally, like the other case that we just had, has a building on, near or close to Sandwich Road and a pull-off area for the vehicles of people that have children. Because the bus won't go down this road. So you need to figure that out somehow.
This is active adult.
But you got kids in the back.
In the back, I'm sorry, I'm thinking
Yeah,
of the entire
and that's
project.
a long walk up
In the
front,
back,
and I
right.
wouldn't let my kid walk alone.
All right.
Never mind stand on Sandwich Road alone.
Kind of interesting, it's an adult subdivision up front, but we have kids in the back. Anyway,
What I'm thinking about is if you have, for those four-bedroom homes back there, or whatever, you have single-family homes, you have kids, you have no sidewalk, and you have gravel. So if kids want to ride bikes, et cetera,
No riding
it
bikes.
seems like there's a challenge.
Probably. And is there
Rural
guest
free
parking
delivery.
already on here? I never even counted.
25
25?
guest
Okay.
spaces, yeah.
Are you all set with your presentation?
would just-
Okay, any other questions up here? And is there anyone else presenting?
No, it's just myself.
So we can go to the public? You guys are all set? George, you good? Anybody from the public want to comment on this new development tonight? Come on up, Mr. Augusta.
John Roger Augusta, 522 Old Meeting House Road. It's my understanding that these subdivisions that have driveways longer than 500 feet are required to have a secondary egress. This place has got thousands of feet of road with no secondary egress. It's the road they're proposing with the 14 houses is 750 feet long. Never mind the one from 28 all the way to the back houses in that development, that's probably 1,500 feet.
Just about.
So what can we do about that? Does 40B not allow for secondary egress?
You want to
On a
answer that one
subdivision this
first,
big?
George?
It's an issue that commonly comes up, as you might imagine. And HAC has sometimes, rarely upheld a denial or a condition based on that issue, and more often than not, allows the project to go forward without a secondary means of access or egress.
Isn't that a
So,
fire safety hazard?
Mass Housing doesn't.
Doesn't
I
matter?
don't care.
What you have to do is-
All the concerns.
so any
Government, you pay
for the
for.
board's
Yeah, right.
benefit, any condition that you want to oppose or any perceived health or safety issue presented by the site plan, you want to address those issues with the applicant. But keep in mind, if you're dealing with a very heavy burden, so you want to make sure that any conditions or basis for denial is based on local regulations, which are more restrictive than state regulations, and also that they they make a compelling purpose for justifying what you're doing, usually based on expert testimony on that. And one thing that I would caution the board, and I've done this before, is you want to do your best to condition the project in a way that works so that you don't end up having Housing Appeals Committee be, in effect, the permitting authority for the town. So to the extent you have a public safety issue that you think arises either for residents of the town or occupants of the proposed housing, you want to vet those issues during this process. You want to get local departmental head comment on the issues, and you want peer reviewers to weigh in on the issue as well.
As much as they can.
Again, I mean, the biggest issue here I see is safety, and it's not being addressed. We don't have peer review engineers looking at this thing
Can't go there.
holistically. So maybe that is a fairly good suggestion, at least weigh in with, some of our
Okay.
public, I don't know,
Do you have any other questions?
Just one thing, that the gravel road proposed for the four-bedroom houses is ridiculous. You can't plow snow on a gravel road. It just sounds
All
nice,
about-
but it's not practical
well,
whatsoever.
I mean, he won't give us the numbers, but it's going to throw them up around 50% lot coverage, which is a lot, and obviously it's a lot. Look at the picture.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank
we
you.
have our limitations.
Anybody else from the public?
Valerie Harding, 540 Old Meeting House Road. I have a few questions.
Is that rural over there, too?
Well, I thought it was, but I don't think it's going to
Not
be.
anymore.
I think we're going to be
Sorry.
a small city soon. Who will administer the association?
question.
And what if the association collapses? My other question was about snow removal on gravel. All of us who live here know about snow removal. And I'm not sure I heard this right, but I think I did. The people on Bittersweet Road will only have 10 feet from their lot line to these homes. Is that correct?
Can't believe so.
Yeah, that's what's allowed by the zoning bylaw.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Zoning bylaw only requires 10 feet.
Right. But I want to be clear, because a lot of our Bittersweet Road people can't be here tonight. And so I want it on record that when they listen to this, because a lot of people in town, I have had feedback, are listening to these broadcasts. And so it is correct that they will only have 10 feet
Yeah.
as a buffer.
Yeah, they're going to be bitter because this ain't sweet.
Yes, it's the truth. So my other question is, going forward for this development, will we have another traffic review meeting just as we did in the last
Yes.
Yeah.
2 weeks prior?
Yes.
That's good, because I think that is something that Mr. Cumming and his people should hear. It's very messy as far as traffic's concerned, so I'm glad we will have another meeting about
But
that.
the way we're going now, we're not going to pay any attention to the man behind the curtain, so to speak.
Okay, well, it's a lot to take in. I do understand that the developer and his people have invested a lot of time and a lot of money. None of us here are stupid. We all understand that it's business. But it's also affecting our lives and the way we've lived for a long time. And it's not going to be pretty to our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public want to come up?
Richard Fox, Bittersweet Road. I just had a question about the drawing, excuse me, that I don't understand. What is this? And this line that comes down, this is presumably wider than 10 feet?
No.
Because this must be, since this is our property right here, so this is close to home. And so this is clearly not the same depth as that. So I was just curious what the width is here, that barrier, and what is this gravel clearing?
Thank you for your question. First of all, what is they call it the hammerhead, is the road turnout. That's a requirement under the National Fire Protection Association for minimum dimensioning for a fire apparatus to get down there, turn around, and then leave. So that's what sets the geometry of the footprint you see there. For the setback, I don't have the exact number. Before the hearing, I was looking at the right side, and those were anywhere from 10 to 20 feet. So I would have to get you the dimension. It may be 5 to 10 feet, I guess, just from eyeballing it against what I took off earlier today.
Okay.
But we can provide that as a follow-up for the board.
Anybody else from the public want to come up? Oh, no. Oops, sorry. I didn't see you. You can go next.
Mike Lima, 791 Sandwich Road. I just have some questions about setbacks and, I guess, let's see if I can't push this over. So this is a little bit more closer to home, as the last gentleman said. We have the property that's just along, actually, does the mouse help me out here? Right along here is, bordering our property. I think if I looked at the dimensions from some of the different documentation that was said, the other one, I think it was 22 feet from the back door of these 9 that kind of border us to the property line. Then it looks like there's decks on some of them. Not sure if there's decks on all of them, but that's going to push it, Just saying, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's much for either fencing or maybe buffering, privacy, noise buffering, things like that there. This is a huge change to all of our lives. Been here about 27 years. You know, it's kind of joining backyards with a bunch of people, I guess, in a way. So, not that I'm against talking to people or whatever, but it's just going to be a big change, and I would like to think we can come up with some type of privacy fencing, or maybe, or including some arborvitaes or some type of noise buffer as well to go along that, to kind of separate what's this new development from, you know, our lives. That's all I got. Thank you. Oh, one other thing, I'm sorry. I think this goes back to the other project you were talking about, where there's a divot and what have you. I think this is something more over time, probably in this area. The farm, you know, would shed water off into our area. There's a pretty good, at least a 2 or 3 foot gullet that cuts through in through there. So I'm curious how they're gonna, maybe it's something to look at in the future, that there's gonna be a wall or something's gonna be needed in that little area there, because it is a pretty significant V down type thing that borders. And, yeah, that's all I got.
Is it a wetland?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
That's a wetland there.
Well, I don't know if it's a wetland. It was pretty much because of the roof of the barn and their paddock areas. They were shedding all that water to that. They kind of took a bobcat and built a river. And it came there, and over time, it created, there was another one that kind of got
Swale,
fixed.
yeah.
But that one there has been there for a lot of years, and it's pretty significant. Water doesn't shed out there anymore since the farm's been, you know, kind of shut down. It's not as bad as it was, but it still has that gully there, what have you, and it's going to be an issue with building, how you're going to, you know, kind of border that to the property.
Can I ask a question while he's still up there? Are you asking the developer if there's going to be some kind of wall there, retaining wall, or just?
I assume he's going to have to do something there, or it's going to kind of be awkward blending in
I
one
don't see
property
it,
to
I
the
don't see it
other.
on the plan, is why I'm asking you. It's not, I don't see anything on the plan.
Yeah, it's not,
No,
nothing's
it's just
listed on here
gonna
at
drop
all.
off.
No.
Well, they can't shed water on you.
Well, the way
Shedding
it's
days are
construed,
over.
it's kind of,
I
it is what
get-
it is type
yeah.
of thing. So, yeah, I just wanted
Supposed to
to
direct
point that
water
out.
to another property.
Because as you say, it doesn't seem to be on the plan, or, you know, a lot of stuff there that's showing how it's going to, you know, look in the end. I know we went for a walkthrough last year, kind of through there. It was a little, it's hard to see because there's a lot of different things everywhere, whatever, but you're all welcome to come by my home and take a walk down to take a look at different things that way, if it helps you with understanding what it's going to look like or what it is. I know
Would you let our peer engineer work on your property?
Absolutely. I think the more, it needs to be looked at the minimum, because this is going to affect our lives, my life, all our neighbors' lives, forever. Once this is done, it's done. And if it's not taken care of now.
It's generational, and way beyond my lifetime, that's for sure.
But, yeah, that's all I got.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
You might want to designate time, too, in a future meeting that, as I see the engineer taking notes, maybe they can reply to some of the
Yeah, well,
comments that
I'm
they've
hoping he's
received.
going to do some homework, and the next meeting we'll tackle some of these questions, yeah. Want to come up? Yeah. Did you know about that gully?
I wasn't familiar with runoff from the stable, but I could just address, if you don't mind, maybe 1 second to address the board. I think we can say the high degree of confidence that the development plan actually intercepts any runoff that might be coming from the old stable building as it extends. I think what Mr. Lima is saying is it extends out in here, somewhere in here, the stable building's up in here. And so this cuts it off, the roadway cuts off that runoff. The building roofs are being collected and conveyed through a closed drainage system. So I think I could say with some confidence that we could actually reduce the amount of runoff that you're seeing go into the property, but we're more than happy to look at it in a
I
little more
think he's
detail.
also addressing the slope part of it, too.
Yeah, I understand. I just looked at the grading plan. It appears we're grading it correctly, but I'll go back and check.
Thank you.
Didn't he say it doesn't flow as much now that the farm is closed?
Yes.
Probably has a,
Why would that be?
probably has a hole in the roof. Who knows?
Not horse water?
It might, I don't know. Go ahead, I'm
Done
sorry.
a lot of different, over time, moving of piles of this. There used to be a big pond there at one point that they dug. There used to be a 20-foot. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am. Sorry we interrupted you.
That's okay.
I interrupted you.
Mindy Richland, 66 Bittersweet Road. I just want to echo some of the other comments. I really hope that there can be a way that, like, this buffer issue, which just looks incredibly narrow, which seems to be, 5 to 10 feet even on that
Yeah,
side.
but it's a rural road.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But could be improved. It's going to be a huge change. It's going to impact us. It's going to impact everyone on Bittersweet Road, for
I
sure.
know when I first saw that they were putting these units in, I know Bittersweet people were here for the first hearing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
Yeah.
that you found out.
Currently, it's all
what's
tall
happening.
trees.
Kind of like a
It's all woods.
bonus.
It's all trees, yes, I know.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Richard?
Richard?
Try not to fall over.
Richard Johnson, landscape architect, 1 Ambets Avenue. I'm a little concerned about the open lawn panels being undefined, except by sidewalks. And I would love to see some trees at the edge of the sidewalk. I realize the center of those lawn panels are underground utilities or reserve areas, so you can't plant trees in the middle of it. But some sort of street tree around the edge of that area, and the 7 units in the middle of that, they have no landscaping at all, those 7 units, which seems
Strange.
certainly has no curb appeal to have no landscaping. So some effort at landscaping in that area, I think, would improve the project. Just my opinion.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any further questions up here?
So, sorry, I just have one for the engineer. Can you address the entrance to the development, what the width of the roadway or the entrance or whatever it is? Folks coming in off of Sandwich Road and exiting onto Sandwich Road?
Maybe easier to see on the engineering plan. Here we go. Roadway width is 20 feet. You can see it in the dimensioning here. There we go. And obviously, it's two-way traffic to come in and out, but that's the current design of it.
How are you going to deal with the school kids?
Well, this testimony I just heard this evening, and we'll be looking at that, sir.
And you're meeting the
That's a
site triangle?
surprise to you?
The site distance study has been performed.
Yeah.
And I believe that's been submitted as part of the packet.
And that site, this is going to be affected by the school bus that's going to be parked right up the street from you.
I'm sure the traffic engineer will be able to address that when he's here, follow-on hearing.
They seem like they're
When
addressing
you
all.
go, can you grab some stats, like on the porch dimensions? Are there sheds in these units?
My brief review of the architectural plans, they're not necessarily sheds, they're not like, say, an accessory shed or anything like that. Units are self-contained, so if there's any storage, it's within the unit
What
itself.
about the people with all the kids? What are they gonna do with their bikes and stuff?
That programming for that area allows for a little more flexibility because it's not as dense as the core development.
Can you show on a plan where a shed could go?
For the single-family area?
Because, I mean, they're gonna have 4 bedrooms,
Sure,
yeah.
we could do that.
I mean, there's gonna be bikes, there's gonna be, soccer nets, all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
And do the other dwellings have any kind of storage?
Within the unit itself, I don't have the unit floor plans to be able to say where
There's no
the
outside
storage
storage
is.
at all?
No, there's no like dedicated
Where you gonna
community
put it?
storage for the development.
Some of those are gonna have kids.
Don't these have basements?
Yes.
Yes, I'm seeing stairs going down on the floor.
Yeah, as I had said before,
Bulkheads?
there's some bulkheads, but there's also, we have some walkouts on the 15
Walkout
units that are on
basement
the, so those will
Okay.
absolutely have
Looking
basements.
west, actually, kind of downhill.
Yeah, so just try to get some dimensions if you could, on any of those kind of things.
On the dimensioning, so I understand, Madam Chair, for shed positioning within
Porches,
the...
decks, any of that.
Porches,
Yeah,
decks
any
within
extra,
the-
you know, what I mean.
Sure.
Elevation, I mean, you want ridge?
Yeah.
Ridge?
Ridge height, too, yeah, I don't know if that might be
The
in
height of the
here.
buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Anybody else have any?
Other than those sheds, might bring this place up over 50% coverage.
No, be up to 60. Anybody else have any other? You guys all set over here?
Can I,
Yeah, go ahead.
because I'm just looking back at the original submission. These are all, I don't see any notation as to how you're cladding these buildings. I'm not sure you're going to know this either. But what is it? This is all shingle, clabbered? What is this? Hopefully not vinyl.
I can't testify to that, Mr. Petrucci, I'm not the architect.
there anybody?
Architect some night, you know.
Yeah,
one
if
of the
there's a
hearings.
subsequent
Oh, we'll have the
discussion
architect.
architecturally,
Okay.
then
We'll do
I'm-
it another.
So just to the developer, it would be nice to see that on the plan, at least so that everybody knows what we're supposed to be getting. I think they're pretty nice designs architecturally, it's just like to know how
I
they're
think
going
we
to be finished
heard
up.
hardy planks in the beginning, didn't we?
I think,
I think we did, too.
I believe
yeah.
so.
anyway, just so we have that note.
So for next meeting, Noreen, what do we have?
So we were looking at traffic presentation for the next hearing. I guess the question will be, we were also intending to have our peer be present, but I think given this conversation that we need to have about what the peer's responsibilities are and if they're willing to amend their contracts, I don't know if that's going to impact somebody coming to the next meeting or not. I don't know what the turnaround time would be to get those issues resolved about what their concerns are and whether the peer sends a reply and who's going to make a determination about what is or is not okay now.
So is there value in having a meeting in 2 weeks if we're not going to have new information?
Well, I think we were looking for the next meeting to be August 27 to
Oh,
give time
okay, that's
for
different.
Okay.
that type of thing, but.
Okay.
That's better
Well,
than
I
2
think, Madam Chair, I think the question is very important. I mean, I'm concerned about the peer, and I'm concerned
Yes.
about what appears to be aggressive, to use our attorney's words. And I'm concerned that we can keep moving along in the time period that's been allowed for this. Do we know how much time is left on this?
So.
Not enough.
Yeah,
Well, they were generous to
December.
give us the 180
December.
days.
So we have, that's all I care about, we have that.
We have time.
Yes.
All right, that's all.
Yes.
We have time.
Okay, that's all.
But
We
I
have to do
think,
it right.
we do need to have those discussions
no, I
with
agree.
the peer engineer, because we've used peer engineers in the past. There's not been a single occasion where they haven't gone out to the site. Part of their assessment is to obviously look at the site and understand the site so that they're understanding the context. And if you tie their hands and you say, well, you can only use these pieces that we give you, it seems to sort of hamper the advice they can give this board.
It's about professionalism.
And, this board is not comprised of engineers. So we have the peer for the purpose of giving us their level of expertise and their understanding as they review your plans and the site. So that may well be a problem.
We did walk the site, the board did walk the site, but we
Partially.
had a person that didn't know where the roads were. It was a real estate agent, and we didn't really learn, I didn't learn much. We had some stakes, he didn't really know what the roads were. It was probably one of the worst site visits I've ever had, information-wise. And I wish you were there, you would have helped us. But, so we're concerned, as a board. So, anyway, so we're August 27th. That's what you,
That would be our next meeting
okay.
date.
And that gives us time to,
Well, I'd recommend a game plan, Suzanne, is,
Okay.
I'm sure Noreen sent it out, or Ashley, the revised plan set should go out to the department heads, because you
Yes.
got to kind of redo the whole thing. They
Right.
need to look at it and comment.
got to do it all over again.
I would schedule time for the engineer to respond to the comments that he received from the public.
Yeah.
At that August 27
Yes.
meeting. And if it's okay with the board, I'd recommend Noreen kind of coordinate with the peer reviewers the review of the objections, see if maybe they can work that out.
Yeah.
And get that, underway.
first.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
being optimistic, they should be able to work everything out.
Yep.
Get an agreement from the applicant, we do agree to that, and get their work underway so that then you can have that in the August 27th meeting too.
Can I ask
And
you-
if you end up with an objection that is not resolvable, then take that up at the August 27th meeting.
Okay.
That's, Madam Chair, that's my question. They've set up something that creates issues, because this is what peer engineers do here. And if we can't get the information we need to make a decision, how can we come to a decision if we can't get all the information we need from our experts?
Going to have to seek an extension, right?
I would have to
We're
do
gonna have
that.
to wait for
I
the
don't, I'm
information.
reading through all the objections here, and again, I'm not an attorney, but what happens if we don't, what if
Cross that bridge when you
it out.
come to
Yeah,
it.
we'll
If
just have
there's-
to work
If there's
it out.
something that hasn't been agreed to by August 27th, address it then.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember,
I come from, well, first of all, I'm sorry.
Decision deadline is not
I
August
come
27th.
from corporate life, and we don't wait till we get there and there's a problem. We try and decide what could be the problem, how do we get there? And what do we do about it when we get there? So I don't know, as I sit here as a member, I don't know what's going to happen if there is an objection, and how do we resolve it? I'm not hearing that.
We just wait till we get to August 27th and see what happens.
And address it as a board, yes.
So I think,
What I think.
the scheduling of the peer attending the next meeting will be dependent on whether
The negotiation or
there's
whatever
an
happens. Yeah.
agreement on the review. And
Yeah.
if there's not, then the peer won't attend that meeting.
Okay. So we're just going to continue with no traffic, because we don't
Well,
know.
I think we would expect their traffic professional to attend the next meeting and discuss their findings.
Okay.
And then
And then he
if
can
we're
also
able to come
address-
to an agreement, we could also have our peer attend. If we can't, we won't have our peer attend, and we'll have to talk
Okay.
further.
Can we do architectural? Can we do more on the 27th? And
Well, he's going to address, I think, a lot of the issues. We gave him quite a bit of homework, I think.
I'm still bothered by the fact that I don't see any peer review, any traffic study looking at these two projects holistically. It's going to bother me forever, and I see this thing putting us behind every week, and
I mean, I'd like to work well enough with the applicant, no matter how the applicant feels about the community right now. But this is putting a real damper on everything right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Anyway.
Just to be clear, what I'm hearing from the board is you'd like us to have our traffic engineer, as well as Mr. Hartnett, to discuss civil and traffic at the next hearing, and then we'll play it by ear whether your peer consultants are here to present their findings as well. But we'll be prepared with both of our consultants, as well as William and myself.
Thank you. Want to make me a motion?
27?
8:27.
Move to continue 06625 Sandwich Road Housing LLC, 0 Sandwich Road, to August 27th at 6 PM.
second.
We have a motion and a second. You're all set for that date?
Yes, thank you.
Everybody up is good? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Thank you all for coming out.
See, that's broken vote, right, the 13th.
Oh, you didn't read it?
You read the letter.
I'll read it.
You'll get it.
Oh, shit. I printed mine out.
We get July 30, that's the other one. You don't have it, great.
Mine just came. I didn't bring it. I thought I can't.
All right, what are we doing, Madam Chair?
Open meeting here?
Got a couple of things left.
Thank you guys for coming, and
Thank you.
don't be strangers.
Okay, are we doing, wait, she's talking for a sec. Ash, will you send us that letter of the pier that that guy sent? Will you send us all a copy?
It went out, it did go out.
Huh?
It went out.
Can you do it again?
Sure.
Frank didn't find his. I printed mine, now I can't find it.
Scott didn't have one.
Oh, I thought it came out this afternoon.
It came out like yesterday or today, yeah. It was
Oh,
recent.
okay.
Will you just do it again for, oh, are you in
Enough
tomorrow?
time to highlight
Yeah,
it.
will you throw it to us?
I'm in trial all
No,
next
no,
week.
I'm not being, are we doing any minutes?
Do you folks have any questions for Mr. Pucci before he leaves?
George, you good?
I am, of course, yep. Do you have any questions for me, or I'm
Thank you.
going to hit the road, trying to get off the clock, but
That was crazy.
I just want to say, George, I'm very glad that you're here.
Yes, we very much.
This is going to get
Thank you very
ugly.
much.
Then-
I always go where I'm wanted.
You're not going home, huh? Not going home tonight, are you, George? See ya, have a safe trip.
You can smile, now you're off the clock.
We're still on.
I'm not off the clock, I'm portal to portal.
Are we doing
We'll
any minutes?
renegotiate that
The
next time.
minutes for June 25th.
I'll make a motion. Has everybody read June 25th?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve June 25th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none? Board discussion?
Yeah, on a note, I'd like to say that I hope whoever, this is Ashley's last night of minutes, I hope whoever does it is 80% as good as she is.
That would be impossible.
She is phenomenal.
80?
And I'd settle for it. You know, I'm an easygoing guy.
You are. Yes, Ash, we're going to miss you.
Yeah, we are gonna miss you here.
Board updates, we're going to be sad.
I just, not updates or whatever, the last workshop we had, the cover sheet that Jim did, we've never really dealt with it. I mean, other than Noreen sending it out, and it was a better job than I could have done, and I think we should be moving it forward.
In a while, it's true. Yeah.
And I have,
forgot too, yeah.
because I want to get that one behind me, because I have other things for our next upcoming, sorry.
Saturday.
Yeah, which
And
is
you're-
in what, October? Yeah,
October, yeah.
because I got some more complaints, just so you know.
Okay, well,
No.
really.
Ashley, you don't have to attend that either, right?
Tony just put on his surprise face.
Okay. Future agenda items?
So I would just bring it to the board and the public's notice that Fall Town Meeting will be Monday, October 26th this year, which is early, and that is the date that the Select Board has now established.
All right, town meeting. Do you have to go to one of those meetings again?
Well, yeah, we go whenever it is, if I can find out. I didn't
Yeah.
have much luck last time.
So
did.
they have scheduled the
Precinct
approximate week
Yeah,
that the
precinct.
precinct meetings will be held, so perhaps
Yeah.
yours can just not be on a Thursday.
No, yeah. No,
I think you're always on Thursdays, aren't you?
Huh?
Aren't you always on Thursday?
Yeah, it has been that way, and
Yeah.
like I said, I missed a lot of them, and I just can't do that.
Okay.
Hopefully, we won't
As
be
long as
going
I have
every
this
week.
important non-paying job.
All right, everybody's good?
Yes.
Our next meeting is July 23rd at 6. And Mark?
Oh, motion to adjourn, Madam Chair. I'm hungry.
Come on, Scott, second it for me. There we go. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.